live on this conversation. Sorry for the delay, folks. We were just having some last minute plotting and scheming for what we were going to talk about. Hello, welcome. If you're new here, welcome back. If you're not new here, then hang on. No, I got backwards. Scratch that. Anyway, we have here two guests. We're going to talk about fandom and fanfiction again. Introduce yourselves in case no one else knows who you are, but I think everyone here should know exactly who you are.
I guess I'll go first. Hi, it's Kyla T. I've been on this channel before. I have my own channel too. Most recent video is about, oh God, what was it about?
Oh, that was probably the drunk nostalgia critic episode that we did. Well, I got drunk.
Oh yeah, oh my God, where I got owed financial compensation.
Yeah, no, deservedly so. That was more painful than I expected. I'm very sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always good to be here because I get to chat with my friends. So.
And Kyle, you're always welcome here because Kyle and I've known each other for years, and I do want to say something later about something only you and I will get and no one else will understand. But I'll try to explain the joke as much as possible. You know what I'm going to talk about. Krim, who are you again? Have we met before?
Oh yes. Hi, I'm Krim. Me and Anthony have been fighting the good fight in certain respects. But we're not going to go into that today. We have done a couple streams together talking about Evangelion. Was the last one I was on this channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try to be more normal this video. I promise I won't do anything evil today. But I mostly do stuff regarding fandom. I do some gaming streams, and I do kind of like retrospectives on established commentary channels and theory channels. I've done stuff on the most recent one I did was on an old feminist frequency video. I'm kind of looking at it as a retrospective of like how far have we come since then, and what are some of the pitfalls, and that sort of stuff.
Valid. Also, I am curious about that. I feel like I should do more analysis on feminist frequency as well, because I feel like they're such a complicated figure.
Unfortunately, looking back, we watched my favorite video, and unfortunately, she's very benign, I think, especially because, like, at the time, I think she was so potent because nobody other than Lindsay Ellis was really doing what she did on that scale. But now, like, a lot of people are doing the same thing, and they're doing it so much better, and there's so much better perspectives, like from people of color and trans people and gay people all over the spectrum. So I just feel like we've kind of moved past that, and I don't think there's really anything there, in my opinion, to really do an in-depth analysis.
That's true. I did a couple responses to her videos. Well, not a couple. I did like one video that acknowledged some of her points, and I felt like her points were very like, from what I did for the video, they were like almost like the only thing I had a big issue with the specific examples weren't always like thought out well, but beyond that, it was like there's just not a whole lot to discuss. Oh, using the tape. It wasn't just. Oh, it's all good. This wasn't a whole lot to discuss, and that was kind of underwhelming, I thought. But
yeah,
I don't know. But again, I think the reaction to her is far more worthy of like academic study than anything else, honestly. Because people went wild over that. Before I get too sidetracked, I am sharing my screen, so Prim, you'll see this. What do you think of the the one? I may have to censor this. Actually, I'm realizing now that I'm looking at it, there's a bit of a vulgarity, a bit of a not so nice word on here. But I had some fan art drawn of me.
I'm not seeing the fan art. All I just see is your wallpaper.
Okay, I haven't brought it over yet, but this is it right here. I'm gonna hide the vulgar word behind my head, but basically, it's an artist I made. A certain artist who, when I first started online, I worked as basically a writer online, and I criticized this one guy's comic years ago, and he never got over it. He's been mad for like 5 or 6 years, and
it's been 5 years. I'm sorry. I cannot stress to people at home. It has been 5 years. I have had a job. I've got promoted. I got a 401k. I got a man. When I tell you I have lived life, and this man is still talking about this, I am blown.
5 years? I think I had a career change in that length of time. Like I went from being an artist to like working in therapies.
I got married in that time.
Jesus. Okay, dude, let it go. Also, I need to up my Anthony fan art level. Damn. Apparently, I'm competing with the big leagues. I need to up it.
By the way, this is supposed to be an ant. I'm pretty sure.
That is straight up a fucking caterpillar.
Yeah,
that's a caterpillar. That's all.
Yeah, that looks like a centipede.
That's what I thought.
Caterpillar. What are you talking about? How many legs? Well, that's way too many segments.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like 7 or 8 segments for a 3-segmented creature, not counting the neck and head. Though I will at least say, he has been paying attention. Except not my glasses have never been square. It's like
the hair is perfect, though.
Hair is on point. Weirdly fuzzy nose, but I will accept that the shape is correct. I am a little concerned by the lack of upper teeth, though. That I'm a little worried about because.
Oh, I thought those were lips. I thought those were lips.
There's segments here. I think those are teeth.
Yeah, I thought it was like the lines on the lips, like you know how they can get kind of scaly and wrinkled.
Oh, that's a good point. I do have very chapped lips. That is fair. Sometimes worse than other times.
Those are absolutely supposed to be teeth, though.
Sorry. No, I think so too. But like, I think the fact that we have to debate that is kind of, in and of itself, a statement about the art. And mind you, listen, all art is subjective.
Yeah.
He's gonna be writing this down for next time. Chapped.
Oh yeah. He's probably going to.
Is he still watching you like actively?
He tagged me on Twitter.
Definitely.
Oh,
that's so funny.
Definitely. 100%.
That's why. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No. Actually, maybe you can explain better than I can. Actually, because I'm too biased.
It's just I am blown away. Like. I just literally it's been 5 years because I remember when I first got involved with dealing with the likes of like this dude, and that was when I started at my current job in my base position. Like I said, I'd have got a raise, I'd have got promoted. I'd have lived some life. I can't.
That's really funny.
I don't know
what is it about you, Anthony, that just like haters just like
I don't know.
It's like you're like the one that got away. Like everybody's. It's like the opposite of a crush, you know?
Right.
Where it's like people just love to hate you, and
I don't know. I just don't know what it is. Like every person I've ever criticized, like basically ever, has made it their life mission to destroy me in some fashion.
I mean, to be fair and honest and real for a moment, I adore bullying you, but it comes from love, and you know.
but Krim, when you do it, I know you're doing it with like a smile. They're doing it while like seething behind their like desktop.
Hey, I do it with an evil smirk.
That's sometimes fun though. That's maybe better.
Anyway.
Like it's funny. Like I mean, not to mention any specific names, and they who shall not be named today.
Oh
but,
God!
Like, yeah. But like even that is like a small example of like a recent case of this, and this is from like years ago. It's the same thing. It just keeps changing like who specifically. They are like.
I just remember back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I just remember back in the day when this dude made a fake account pretending to be a fangirl of his own.
Oh God, that's right.
Realized, like, yeah, you remember that?
I was God.
Like, man, there is nothing more pathetic than that. I can't do nothing with this. I'm like, I don't know.
It was so pathetic.
I heard about that, and I only started watching Anthony like a few months ago, and I heard about that when it happened. Like that was sad. I guess so people just like really hate seeing a bisexual king win.
I would like you know what, maybe, but he wasn't just targeting me. In fairness, he wasn't just targeting me with his fangirl account. He was also targeting Oh, Gail Simone, probably. I think.
Yeah, that got a little crazy. Like, what are you doing, dude?
He's so ridiculous. I love it. Like, here's the thing. I am never upset to be living rent free in someone's house. Brain.
Yeah.
But this is like another level.
Dude, I'd give him a storage unit. I don't even think it's that big.
No, I don't think he has. I think he has a lot of people living in his head rent free. He might need to start evicting some people. Oh my goodness. Anyway, moving this away.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Can I share one last piece of gossip from from the world of nerddom just being completely unhinged?
Oh, 100%. You're more than welcome to.
Okay, so do you guys know who Neil Adams is?
Yes.
He was a artist for DC and Marvel. He had a conspiracy that the Earth is growing. Like it's like flat Earth, but on a new level, and it's popping off again thanks to Mini Minuteman. And I was watching it, and when it was revealed the name of the guy who came up with this theory, my head exploded. And then I sent it to another good friend who was really into comic books, and it like got to the name, and she said, "I fucking hate you, Krim." And I'm like,
oh God,
I knew you would. I knew it would make you mad. That's why I sent it to you specifically. But yeah,
he's mostly famous doing Batman, right? Like he did Batman stuff, specifically Neil Adams, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
I think he did Let me get some of his art up, just so people who are watching can understand. Oh yeah, Batman.
What
were you gonna say, Kyla?
I'm just still stuck on the expanding Earth. Like like bread in the oven.
Basically, that's exactly what he thinks. That's what he thinks. You know how you like? So his idea is like if you took a deflated balloon and you like put like paint on it and then you blew it up, the paint would crack. And yeah, that's what he thinks is going on.
I can't. Okay, so for chat, so you understand Neil Adams, his art. He is the man who gave us this wonderful image of Batman with his shirt off fighting Ra's al Ghul.
I actually really liked his art is the thing.
He's a good artist. He's a genuinely good artist. Physicist, not so much. He should really not focus on Earth rising like bread under the heat of the sun. But like great artist, but like I just I don't think. Something about him tells me I don't think he's a physicist.
No.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Kyla, I will send you the video that made me discover this so that you can watch it in your own time.
Oh, so Neil Adams also created Man-Bat as well. Okay, I'm just double-checking chat. Yeah, so...
Oh, God.
I mean, and he apparently also created Ra's al Ghul. So again, he's a good creative figure.
You know what?
Yeah.
That explains a lot, like with the Lazarus pits and stuff. The math is mathing right now for me in a way that I don't really like.
Apparently, he also did Batman Odyssey, which I remember the title of. I forgot who made it, but Batman Odyssey is pretty nuts.
But the thing is, it makes like the expanding Earth theory makes a good story, but like that's not how geology works. So
yeah, that's not how anything works physically.
Just because it makes a good story doesn't mean that it's true.
100%, and that's the problem with like all of this. It's like we're working with the idea that hey, these things are cool to discuss. Don't pretend you're a scientist or know physics. This actually reminds me of something I was just watching. If anyone, and this is way off topic, we'll get to topic soon, but like, has anyone seen they just uploaded it. Dead Domain did a 2.5-hour video about the Synthetic Man, a YouTuber.
I haven't seen it.
It just came out, so I wouldn't expect anyone to have seen it yet. It's like 2.5 hours. It's long. Before this video, I made the mistake of watching all of it while working. And mind you, I'm not saying
brain rot.
Yeah, this is like extreme brain rot. This is like next levels. Like it's like imagine like the black pill rabbit hole.
Oh jeez.
At like,
oh Lord,
this is like what people go to watch if the quartering is too leftist for them.
I love turning my brain juices into kombucha, so maybe I'll.
If you have 2.5 hours to watch to really just hate one person a lot, that's it's a rough sit. But again, Dead Domain's really talented, but like I respect them quite a bit. They're very good. But I don't know how. Apparently they were saying they watched like 200 hours worth of this guy just to like get this script written, and I'm like, that's more dedication than I could ever devote to subjecting myself to another human being like that.
Oh, the ad revenue is good, because my God.
I hope so too. Well, apparently Kiwi Farms really hates the video, so they're doing what they can to comment on it and give it dislikes, which I'm sure will not aid it in the algorithm whatsoever.
Oh. Yippee.
Anyway, on the topic you clicked on for, which is to say fandom and fanfiction and fan art, this topic is going to be something we kind of all came with different angles in this one discussion point. So I have no idea where this discussion is going to go other than in directions, and we're going to find out what directions those are very shortly. So before I start talking about fandom, and again, I also did a stream with Charlie and Astrid last week about the writing side of fanfiction. This is not going to be like that. We're not going to focus on like the technical writing tactics in terms of writing fanfiction. We're talking more like the fandom culture surrounding fanfiction, fan art, doujin comics, what have you, and how it fits in with everything. But Kyla, Krim, whoever wants to go first, what are your experiences with this topic? Have you written fanfiction? Have you made fan art? Have you consumed it? Have you spent all night reading a 1,000,000-word fanfiction before?
Oh boy, I've been in so many fandoms, from the very well known to the super niche. Like in fact, I'm gonna put out a feeler just to see if anybody else was a part of this. I was back when I was in my Benedict Cumberbatch phase.
I heard you almost said
Sherlock. I was in that. Yeah. I was in that, but I ended up being a big fan of the BBC radio program Cabin Pressure, which don't nobody else know unless you were in that phase too. And it was one of the most niche things to be a part of, but it was also really nice. But yeah, I've been through that. I've been on LiveJournal, fanfiction.net, Quizzilla. If you remember Quizzilla.
Quizzilla, that's unlocking some core memories there.
Yeah, and I've written fan fiction for a while. In fact, one of my first ones, so my mom gave me like her old typewriter when I was younger. Oh my
God, I love this already.
And it's not like, with like the old fashioned one. This was from like probably the 80s or something. So I had like the little computer screen. Like the little screen so you could actually type in a keyboard. And I wrote my first fanfic on there, but you guess what it was for?
I'm guessing it's
Both of y'all just try to guess.
Gundam Wing.
No.
Okay, way off on that one.
Okay, Krim, what's your guess?
Oh my! I have no idea. Something Disney, Lion King.
No. It was for Lupin the Third.
Oh, okay. Yes, you see, that's actually really good. That's a great offer.
That's less embarrassing than mine.
No, same. Okay, so we have a super chat I'm going to read right now. Mystic Mind Analysis. Thank you for the super chat. I certainly don't own the fandom, but I like to think my High Guardian Spice fanfics helps keep the fandom's heart beating, however small it may be. You know what? Your service is respected for that. There's not a ton High Guardian Spice fanfic writers, but hey, for that fandom, they need all the love it can get. There's a lot of people who are very negative about that one.
Veraxis, they know Cabin Pressure. Hey,
there you go.
What up? What up?
See, my problem with BBC radio broadcasts were I would listen to the BBC adaptations of classical literature because no one else is adapting The Lost World. The Arthur Conan Doyle book. Okay, I should stop being a book nerd. Okay. Sorry.
You can be a book nerd.
Oh, I will. Yeah. Oh no, this will be the entire day. This will be the entire stream. I should conserve it now. It will be not going away anytime soon. Krim, what's your answer to this question?
I have been in the fandom's trenches since the tender young age of 11. When I first, here we go. I first had a Neopets account, and
that's how
it's how it started for me. And I guess I had like a few early fandoms. None of them are going to be a surprise to you. Inuyasha was a big one for me early on. Harry Potter, Zelda, Kingdom Hearts. They were some of my earliest ones. Tales of Symphonia was also a big one, and I was actively on. It was I guess I couldn't really call it social media, but it was like I was on a bulletin board. Ooh, do you guys remember the BBSs from back in the day?
Yes. I was just thinking of that.
I was on a bulletin board from Tales of Symphonia when I was younger, and I would check that every day, and yeah, that was one of my earliest like niche fandom experiences. But yeah, these days I write fan fiction and read fan fiction, and I like doujins and everything, so I consume a lot of fan material. But these days I'm what I like to call a fandom vulture. I kind of find dead fandoms after all of the drama has gone away, and I like root around in them and find what I like, and I smash them together like action figures.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's so much more enjoyable when all the content's been made, but nobody else cares about it anymore. That way that I don't have to be disturbed in my feasting of, rotting flesh, I guess.
That sounds about right. We got another super chat, by the way. Dark Angel 604, thank you for the super chat. Don't know about fandom, but fans definitely don't own the franchise. My fellow Star Wars fans still need to realize this. Oh yeah.
Oh, I have opinions, and people are not gonna like it. But
same.
Anyway,
I think I'm gonna share my first hot take that I've already shared in a video before, so it's not too hot of a take if you've seen all my videos, guys. Harry Potter, the fan fiction is better than the books. Yeah, I said it.
Yes.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
The fans were more creative than J.K. Rowling, I would say.
Ooh,
yeah.
I will have that hot, spicy take. And I do have a comment about a fan fiction that I will say before the video is over, but not too much before that point, regarding something that certain people may know about, but not everyone. Gavin Kareth, thank you for the super chat. I think the Death Battle fandom is kind of stuck between two extremes of this conversation, which is surreal considering that Death Battle is just fan fiction. That's all Death Battle is. It's just really elaborate crossover fan fiction. When I was
Death Battle like craps. Okay.
Right?
my hot take about Death Battle is that I don't care who's more powerful. I think they should kiss.
Yeah, agreed. Like there was the one episode where they have Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony. Like, you think they wouldn't just go on fun play dates together and like chill and have fun and like?
I mean, Deadpool loves ponies.
Deadpool loves that stuff.
Maybe a little too much, but
maybe a little too much. Christian Lopez, thank you for joining as a member. Welcome aboard. You can have access to my newest videos that comes out tomorrow, which is basically just fan fiction. That was the thing I was going to talk about. My video tomorrow is just fan fiction, literally.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Oh, it's going to be fun. I put a lot of work into it, so I'm hoping it's good. But I mean, not everyone will like it, but it's esoteric and weird. Sorry, I cut you off there.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I think for me, there's a particular kind of fandom that I really don't like. I don't like when it's all about like who would kill the other person the easiest, and I don't like it when it's so like, I mean, like I joke about loving killing and violence, but I honestly don't. I find it very boring, and it's like and it doesn't really make sense at the end of the day. Like, who would win, Goku or Superman? It's like Who cares?
Oh,
They live in completely different worlds with completely different rules, and like who cares who wins? Like, and like I don't think Superman and Goku would fight. I think they'd be friends. And like I feel it's like so uncreative to be like for that. That's like my least favorite. Like if you were to make a tier list of like fan interactions with a piece of media, it would be like the crossover who would win in a fight to the death. That's like the worst of the worst for me.
Yeah,
I just go with what Stan Lee said, where he's like, who would win between this and this? Whoever the writer wants to win.
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Wins.
That's the thing, is that they don't exist, so you can write them. Either of them was winning. They're not real.
Yeah,
like it should be an exercise in creativity, not like a I don't know.
And plus, like, I was talking about this the other day because we're discussing the show on the Discord, Deadliest Warrior. You ever see that show? It was back on Spike TV back in the day.
It was the same thing.
Same thing.
It was same thing.
Well, actually, I would say it's worse than the same thing, because what Deadliest Warrior did, all it talked about were how deadly are the individual weapons when used in a specific fashion. And that was it. It was like, how do we compare the damage dealt by throwing stars that a ninja would throw and the cannonball that a pirate would shoot out of a ship? It's like, well, when you compare those two arbitrarily, yeah, the cannonball sounds more dangerous, but you're forgetting how they were used. Like, it's like they think maximum output of power versus maximum output of power, as though both parties are going to stand next to each other and fire off their biggest attacks at the same time into one another, like it's a Dragon Ball Z beam struggle. But like the reality is they don't take into account tactics, they don't take into account strategy, they don't take into account why or what they're going to do. Like there's a story about a ninja that I always loved that may even be true, where this ninja was sent to assassinate someone, and this was like this guy, this ninja was like a moderately overweight gentleman, very jovial, smiley. I think he had like one of his legs was like not like he had like an old injury that made him limp a lot, and like he won and charmed his way into a household of his target. You know, he spent a year there, and you know, one day when his target was like came back from like a long trip and was tired, he made him tea and then left in the night, and the tea was a slow acting poison that killed him within a week. Like no fighting involved, no ninja stars, no like black jacket that would hide his features. It was just an assassin entered, looked innocent, put himself in a position where he could kill his target, and then killed him, and then left. And like that's what a ninja would do, saying they'd go into with a black jacket and they'd throwing stars and they'd shoot shuriken knives at people, whatever. Like that's not interesting to me. And the same thing goes with these versus battles. It's like, yeah, if Godzilla fired off his atomic breath at this rate and Goku shot a Kamehameha at the atomic breath and they both hit, who cares? Like they wouldn't do that.
What if Godzilla ran at Goku and then Goku slipped and just so happened to fall on top of Godzilla, and it was like, oh,
Godzilla.
What if they had to go to a hotel and there was only one bed
with Godzilla and Goku?
Whoa.
Yes.
Well, the problem there is that the hotel's like the size of half of Godzilla's leg, so don't know how that's gonna work out. Well, that might even be better. You know, size differences.
Oh, chill.
But like again, like that's the thing. It's like that's more interesting to me than like Goku and Godzilla fighting. It's like, but what if they kiss though?
Damn, Ant not beating the soy boy allegations tonight.
Look, listen. Hear me out. Krim. Hear me out here, all right? What if? Stay with me here.
Don't tease me.
What if we crossed over? We had a crossover between the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
Oh, God.
And Gizmo the Mogwai from Gremlins. Now, listen, you may think Gizmo is like 1 foot tall, and this Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is like the size of a 3-story building. How would this work out? Well, what if they went on an adventure and they bought ice cream together and they just had a good time? But then, of course, it was because after midnight, now all the gremlins come out. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man has to fight all the gremlins. See, this is how fan fiction works. You just make up a fun idea and go with it.
Yes. Well, speaking of which...
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Kyla? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, well, because I was going to go on a whole other thing, but I will let you do yours because...
No, you go ahead.
Seriously,
you go ahead.
Go for it.
Okay, because that was one thing that I wanted to touch on was having fun with fandom and fan fiction, because it seems like a lot of people nowadays are so beholden to canon that they don't want to venture out, like to the point where I remember I went back on Tumblr recently because Twitter has become a hellscape.
Yeah.
And I followed the Lackadaisy Tumblr account, and some anon sent them a message saying, did you know that people are shipping characters on the show that don't really have connections, and even outside of your actual show? So like, I don't know, Mordecai and Goku, like people are shipping that. And the account was like, they were being more positive, and I'm being sarcastic when I relay it like this, but they were like, what am I, the fandom police? Like, you can do what you want. Why do I care? Like, it's just like,
it's so ridiculous.
I'm like, y'all would, like, I feel like a lot of people who deal with that, like, strictness to canon, their face would melt off if they remembered what we called crack ships back in the day.
Yes.
Like,
all right.
Two characters could have, like, two background characters in the scene between the main character and the side character, and you're like, those two dudes are together, and they're dating the other guy from this one series, because why not?
100%.
I actually want to bring up something that I experienced related to that specifically. In the early days of the Owl House fandom, I was into the Edric and Hunter like pairing a lot, and like we didn't know where that was going. Like Hunter didn't even have a name at that point. But you know, like I'm a gay guy and I like boys, and there honestly wasn't a lot of like slash ships available really, because the main characters that were male, you could argue, is King, who is a little puppy, and I'm so bad with names. There was one other character on the main cast.
Yeah, oh crud, what's his name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. You can see how long it's been since I've like watched the Owl House.
I had to look up Edric's name earlier today. It's Gus.
There we go.
Gus was like 12. So there, like there's not a lot of like male characters that are around the same age. So like Edric and Hunter became a pretty popular ship, but then it turned out that Hunter gets together with Willow, which is fine. I don't really care about it. It's not really my favorite thing. And it was only something I ever liked on the side of like the main Amity-Luz relationship. But people's response to people enjoying that ship was to call them misogynists for not liking or like for hating Willow, when I never experienced that. Or like saying that like, well, why are you're actually like, you're lesbophobic for not focusing on Luz and Amity and like picking these two deuteragonists that barely know each other to ship them with. And it's like, I think you need to chill out a little bit.
But but wait, lesbophobic, but Luz is not a. Do they not know that bisexuals exist?
Yeah, but like that's what they were saying. It's because you're ignoring the main, like you're ignoring the main like WLW ship for an MLM ship, so you're invalid, was basically like the argument. It was like between that and then when it was confirmed that Willow and Hunter get together, that was also heaped onto the garbage pile as well.
Well, look, listen, I'll say this. Willow is, of course, the second best witch named Willow in fiction. But that doesn't mean that preferring one ship over the other is a bad thing necessarily.
No.
Yeah. it's just what you're into.
Yeah.
Like, there are many ships that I like and there are some that I don't, but I'm like, hey, if you like it, I love it. Go ahead.
There are like old like freaking yaoi doujins that give some female characters better characterization than the canon do, and they're not even the main focus of the story. So it's like not just because you prefer like a certain, certain characters over the other doesn't mean that like it's coming from like a point of misogyny or sexism.
100%.
So,
well, I think often of the Gundam Wing fandom back in the day. I mentioned Gundam Wing before. The big big ships for that were like all the male pilots with each other. But of course, there was Relina, who was the female lead and love interest, who all of them had to make into be like this like awful, secretly catty monster who just hated gay people so much and was so homophobic, and like you had to rewrite her to be like this awful person to justify the ship.
I mean, here's the thing. Asuka Langley Soryu is right there. She's canonically homophobic. You don't need to be making other mecha characters homophobic. I'm right. It's true. I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up.
No.
Canonically,
I'm going
extremely homophobic.
I'm going to bring this up. I love Asuka, but she is.
I do too. Asuka's like probably one of my favorite characters and my favorite female character in Evangelion.
Same. I adore her. She's great, but she's such a little shit. It's great.
I was talking about this with my server, is that I find like really benign, ineffective like homophobia hilarious.
Here we go. Here's some regular homophobia from Asuka.
Oh, she calls Kaoru like a weird homo like all the time.
Yeah, in the manga especially, which is
and in the manga and in the audio dramas, and like any time that Asuka and Kaoru interact, she's being homophobic to him.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here's the famous one. This is from the Shinji Ikari. This is from the Shinji Ikari Raising Project. So basically,
she said it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
She did.
Yeah. So okay. For context, for anyone who hasn't read the Shinji Ikari Raising Project, it's basically speaking of fanfiction, this is basically like licensed fanfiction. The idea is it's the scene, and spoiler alert for the last episode of the original series of Evangelion, there is this high school AU essentially that Shinji imagines in a sequence. Like where it's just, there's no Evas, there's no Evangelions, no mecha, it's just all the characters in like a typical high school series. And this is that, essentially. Kind of a little adapted slightly. There's some elements of the, I won't say specifically what happens in case you choose to read it, I don't want to spoil it, but basically in Volume 2, Kaoru shows up. And Shinji is immediately smitten with Kaoru. And Rei, who has less of her aloof personality from the anime, and Asuka, who are both at odds with each other because they both want Shinji, they both decide to work together to break up Shinji and Kaoru because they realize neither of them individually have any chance of beating Kaoru.
In the game, based off of this manga, Kaoru is one of the romance options. He is actually one of the romance options in every single game where there are romance options.
Yep.
So just saying. But anyway, let's not delve into that too deeply because I will not shut up about it.
No, it's bad. I've made multiple videos about Evangelion.
But speaking of licensed fan fictions, I think it's a good segue into something that I really wanted to talk about. If I may, if I have permission to take the floor for a second.
No, Crib, you never have permission to do anything.
Okay.
You have to obey our vague instructions that we're making up on the fly.
Okay.
No, absolutely, go for it.
So one of my favorite ladies on Tumblr is Diana Duane. Now, Diana Duane is a writer. She has her little fingers in everything. You pick a sci-fi or fantasy series that has been on TV since the 80s, and she's probably got her little fingers in it. But she is also known for her own series of books, The Young Wizards. So If you've ever heard of that series, that's her. But Diane Duane, sorry, not Diana Duane, it's Diane. She started off as one of the original people writing Spock and Kirk slash Fic in the 70s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has, if I were to count them, I wonder if I can count them. He has written a number of Star Trek novels. He's written The Wounded Sky, Fox World, Doctor's Order.
Wait, I have this book.
Yep.
This Spider-Man book, I have it. It's somewhere right here.
These are Star Trek specifically.
Oh, okay.
She's written My Enemy, My Ally, The Romulan Way, and she's written episodes for the Next Generation as well. So she went from writing fan fiction about Star Trek to writing episodes for Star Trek. Like, she honestly goals.
That's fair.
But she's a wonderful lady. She's very smart. You should follow her on Tumblr.
It's actually funny. I have this Spider-Man book, The Venom Factor, not because it had Venom on the cover. I'm not biased. But no, so like, yeah, but so she went from writing fan fiction to writing licensed tie-in novels, which is, and I think
and episodes, not just novels. She's written episodes. I've been like watching Star Trek, and her name jump scares me, and I'm like,
I love that though. This right here, though, A Wizard of Mars, is that? No, it's the Young Wizard series. I wasn't sure if it was. Yeah. The name made me think of the John Carter novels. I wasn't sure if that was a John Carter book or not. But no,
she's also written for Doctor Who, I think, and yeah, she's got her little fingers and everything. I love her. She's very funny.
Here's her.
One of my favorite little tidbits of her that I think is really funny is that she does her own covers in this ancient 3D program. She refuses to upgrade to Blender or something. She's like, this is what I know, this is what I like, I know how to use it, and that's just the way it's gonna be, and I respect her.
That's fair. Oh, so she also wrote scripts. Okay, so apparently I'm looking right now on a Wikipedia page, which is the most accurate of all information. She wrote scripts for shows such as Scooby and Scrappy Doo, Captain Caveman, Space Stars, Fonz and the Happy Days Gang, Biscuits, and Laverne and Shirley in the Army. And she worked for Deke on a series called Dino Saucers. And during this time wrote scripts for Glow Friends, Transformers, and My Little Pony, and DuckTales. And then the episodes of Next Generation Where No One Has Gone Before, which is a decent episode.
Excellent
actually.
episode.
It's a pretty good episode. I do like that one. Oh, she also wrote scripts. This is really cool. For Batman the Animated Series and Gargoyles.
That's wild.
Yeah, her body of work is incredible.
She started as a fanfic writer.
Wait a second.
Yeah,
some of you
she wrote Barbie Fairytopia.
There we go.
She still talks about it. Like, she's not ashamed of any of this. She talks about My Little Pony and Fairytopia all the time. Like, I love it. And I love how upfront she is about it. So
I love that. Love it.
I don't know.
Especially Fairytopia, because that's become like, wait a second. She also wrote for the most underrated Spider-Man show of all time.
Spider-Man Unlimited.
Unlimited. Yeah. Which is such an under-discussed show. Even though it is not really good, I love it. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I can look at it and objectively go, yeah, this probably isn't the best Spider-Man show, but I love it. It's, like, so over the top. It's like, where else you can get... Sorry.
Respect your elders. Diane Duane walked so modern fandom could fall flat on its goddamn face.
Oh, you know what?
Honestly, I appreciate that, because Like I've been so as a side, so I've been like working on this big of all things Elvis project, like looking into the man, and I happened to find on Depop old like magazines from the UK, like Elvis fan magazine. And one thing that struck me was when I was finding that they recommended to me people who were selling old vintage Star Trek fandom magazines where they were typed up with the fan fiction like in there typed, and like it was I was like, oh my god, I feel like I need to own this as like a piece of history. Like Star Trek paved the way for so much stuff, including fandom and how we as a fandom interact with each other, how we create, and especially with the fan fiction. Like it's so wild just how how developmental, how beyond that was. And I am forever grateful for it.
People do not realize how important Star Trek is in the landscape of fandom. People don't realize just how that in the original Sherlock fandom from Sherlock Holmes fandom, I should not Sherlock fandom, but Sherlock Holmes fandom.
Oh God.
Really shaped everything.
Sherlock fandom is a whole other conversation.
Sherlock
that we need to have some point today.
Yeah, Sherlock fandom. I don't know if I can get into that right now, but we will maybe.
Let's work our way up to that one.
In fact, just Stephen Moffat's work.
I was in it. So.
Yeah, no.
I was in it too, so I was there in the trenches, boy. Let me tell you.
Well, actually, before we proceed, Kyla, I do have a question to ask you about a certain event that you bore witness to to show your fandom cred, or at least your Tumblr adjacent experience.
I think I know this because I checked out Kyla's YouTube and I subscribed and I know exactly where this is going.
Weren't you involved with some a famous event?
I was. So what Anthony is alluding to, and for those who don't know, I was at DashCon, and not just as an attendee. Yeah, like OG DashCon. And I was not just an attendee, I was a vendor. I was in the artist alley. That was my first artist alley. And I made a video documenting my experience. Now, I also want to clarify that I did this before I knew Strange Eons was making their video. I found out after the fact, and I actually have a cameo in it.
Which is
toward the end, a mutual of mine
wild.
Submitted. Yeah, like they got interviewed and submitted some pictures, and they sent me a message on Tumblr saying, "Hey, one of our pictures made it into the video." So like toward the end, like I'm dressed up as, of all things, Kevin from Welcome to Night Vale, which there is no canonical image of this man. We just had to make it up in our heads. But you can see me, I'm a little bit more slimmer in the face, but I pretty much look the same, and my hair is straight. So
the moment you popped up, I'm like, oh, that's I'm like, oh God, it's Kyle. When I saw that, I'm like, oh God, it's you. Didn't expect that. You jump scared me.
I've been immortalized. But yeah, it was interesting. But please ask away. What would you like to know?
Well, I would like to know this, and this is very important. How was the ball pit?
So, okay, here's another thing, and I talk about this in the video. So, I actually won the drawing to go to the Welcome to Night Vale meet and greet that was happening the night before the show. So I actually got to meet Cecil Palmer, Joseph Fink in person, and they were very nice, very lovely dudes. I took a selfie with Cecil, and I was actually in the room when we were told about they canceled. And because I had bought tickets for that, I still have my email that directs to the page talking about the ball pit hours.
I love it.
And I keep that just because I'm like this. I kept all this stuff because I knew one day in 10 years it paid off, boy.
That's just such a wild, and again with Tumblr fandom especially, and there's a DashCon 2 I do know. I am questioning whether or not to go.
Oh,
to that.
I gotta go.
I got it. I'm kind of want to go there.
I have to go now.
I mean, it's in Canada, so I would like to go.
Oh, it's in Canada.
I feel like
there you go.
I think it is, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah,
it is.
I
think it's in Toronto.
Oh, that's not too far. It's actually not that far from where I am. I mean, because New Jersey isn't like that far from. Well, I mean, I think it's an equal distance from. I imagine it's a pretty similar distance to from Chicago to New Jersey, so it all works out in the end. Yeah. Just different angles, like I don't know.
Like
I don't know distances.
Yeah, my friends and I were talking about it because, like, I'm still friends to this day with people I met over there. In fact, 2 of them got married recently. Like, that's how deep a connection we're talking about. We were like, we have to make the pilgrimage over there to go back to where we all met.
When is DashCon?
July 12th next year.
Ooh, I gotta go, girl. I gotta go. We should go together.
I would love that. There's only one possible thing that might get in the way, and that's theoretical. So I'm down for that. Honestly, I'd be down for that.
That'd be amazing.
I haven't gone to a convention in so long though. Like the last convention I went to was at New York Comic Con, where I had to go as like part of the press. Which is itself very surreal. Oh, we just got a super chat. Dark Angel 604, thank you again for the super chat. Your bad LGBTQ rep video was one of the first of yours I watched. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I would like to see some LGBT villains in the future, such as Christian Joseph Seed from Far Cry 5 is one of my favorite villains from fiction. Valid. Far Cry has some good villains. Yeah, I would love to do a video on queer villains in a heartbeat. There's so many great queer villains, which itself I think kind of doing something about villains very soon based on polls on my channel. So, but no, that's actually I have to play Far Cry again. It's been ages since I played Far Cry. Any of you all play Far Cry ever?
No. But I knew that Giancarlo Esposito was a villain in one, and I just love that man's work, so I feel like I have to.
Anything? Have you seen Abigail?
No, I want to.
He's in that very briefly, but he's in it. You might dig that. I mean, he's not like in it. Like, he's in it, but he's not like, you know what I mean? Like, he's in it, but he's not like in it. You know what I mean? Like, he's very, very briefly in the movie.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, actually, because another fandom thing that I went to was I went to Fan Expo recently. Fan Expo Chicago, let me clarify. And he was there. My friend actually met him, and she said he was a really nice dude, and she even gave him a book of her poetry. And he was very excited to receive it. So
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. That's so cool.
I was saying that actually. And that actually goes into something else that I want to talk about maybe later on, but I have to see where the conversation goes, because it's probably going to be a bit of I don't think it'll be too much of a hot take. I don't think.
Well, that's fair. But one thing I do want to bring up before I forget about my experience in New York Comic Con was one person I talked to. What's her name? I got to interview her. You'll know why I'm bringing this up in a second. What's her name? Her name is Cami Garcia. Cami Garcia, who is famous for, well known for her work in YA, but also among comic circles. She's more. This is a terrible image, but I'm trying to get a bigger one. She's well known for the series of Here we go.
Oh,
this series. With Gabriel Piccola, where they did essentially the Teen Titans with really just specifically Raven and Beast Boy specifically, basically kind of reinventing them and kind of shipping them. And Gabriel Piccola got this art job mainly because he did a lot of really interesting fan art of the Teen Titans. And this is just an example of professional work you can get for doing fan works. Again, kind of going off of the Dwayne discussion before. It's like all these people are hiring fan creators, and it's because they're passionate about the subject and they know what they're talking about. A lot of fans they do it for free, so why not pay them for it?
Yeah. I was gonna say, you just reminded me too of this is years ago, a decade ago now, where an artist on DeviantArt had like a really popular deviation where they combined The Simpsons with Death Note and did two different pieces, and it was so popular that they even like. Oh, but before that, it got into the comic version when they were doing the Simpsons comics. They made a Treehouse of Horror comic based off of it. And then they ended up doing the episode years later. But that person got a job in, I think, either with the Simpsons or in animation because of it. And that, I think, was, because I don't know if there are any, because I'm an artist, Krim is an artist as well. And I'm sure you've heard this before where, especially if you were like being taught art, like either in high school or in college, where it's like you shouldn't do fan art because you're not going to get a job with that. But nowadays a lot of people are seeing just how powerful fans are in, like, mainly their money, of course, but also in their loyalty and reception to different things. That's why like a lot of properties that you wouldn't think that would be playing into the idea of having a fandom do, and they are now tapping into that potential. Now you also have to beware of those who will exploit it, but I do think that there are genuine opportunities that can arise from when you do make fan art and show your appreciation for something that really like inspired you, or like you just find really fun, and they can acknowledge that as well.
100%.
I have an excellent example of that. Ooh. So there was a deviant artist, not very well known. You might have heard of her before. Her name is Lauren Faust.
Oh, obscure
figure.
Never heard of her before.
Obscure figure. She drew a lot of concept art, or as you know, you could probably more accurate call it fan art of My Little Pony characters in a very graphic, exciting style. She then went on to use that show to, like, because she worked on like Powerpuff Girls, and she it was basically like My Little Pony in that style, in the Craig McCracken style. And she went on to make a little show called My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, based on that fan art. And that took My Little Pony from basically like I wouldn't say that it had a fandom the way that we typically understand the word fandom, but she took it from, she made a show that eventually has one of the most infamous fandoms like in modern history, I would say. So that's like an excellent example of, in modern times, somebody that was on DeviantArt drawing her little cartoons, and then that fan art got picked up for a show.
100%. So. It's one of those cases where like Lauren Faust, obvious, and you see this a lot with other creators too. Like very famously, Rebecca Sugar, they made Fanfiction as well, and fan comics, some of which I think is best not discussed, because
I was about to say, don't do it.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. But like, again, what people do when they're cringy teenagers, one thing, but like still, like they do. Sometimes it's like they want to like bleach it off the internet because of how embarrassing it is, or they make it a creative pitch for a new show, and it becomes a fairly big deal. And mind you, I was never really into My Little Pony, so I can't speak to that. I
was in the trenches.
Oh, Krim, you were fighting the good fight then. People try to get me into it. I never.
See, I got into it from the opposite direction of, like, I liked My Little Pony, like, one-of-a-kind dolls before, like, when people would take My Little Pony dolls and they would, like, pull out their manes and then, like, give them a new coat of paint, put new manes and tails back in, and it's like, here is a little Teal'c from Stargate's My Little Pony. Here's a little Link pony. Here's a little Samus pony. I was really into that. I loved that stuff. And then My Little Pony Friendship is Magic came out, and I was like, oh, cool. I like that. That's an interesting thing to do with ponies. And yeah, I was at the time in school for animation and game design and film, and I was watching a lot of cartoons back in that day because, like, that was the field I wanted to go into, and that's what I was training to do. And in the industry, there is a lot of respect for My Little Pony because of, despite it being puppet animation, it looks really good. Like, I would say it's the first example of puppet animation that looks as good as that. And it kind of set a new precedence for puppet animation, which is an animation style that was, a lot of people don't realize that, but that animation style was, kind of started in Canada, in my hometown. But anyway.
Canadian animation. It seems like they always keep pushing some cool ideas.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. There's like a big jump. There's a jump in quality between Canadian and American animation and like the style and stuff, but like you have to keep this in mind, is that American animation is funded by big corporations and toy companies. Canadian animation is funded by small studios and government grants. So that's the reason why there's like a jump in quality, but I would still say that they have good contributions. And not to do a little plug here, but I am working on a video directly related to that. That should be up next week.
Oh, Krim, plugging away your awesome projects. I will hear that, by the way.
I was going to say, I was wondering, because going back to, so for those who are wondering, I did see someone in the chat earlier go, Lupin the Third, when I mentioned like my very first fan fiction. And yes, it was because I watched Lupin on Adult Swim back when it was on Cartoon Network. And one thing that they did before Adult Swim was they used to run a block of Canadian cartoons called Old Canada, which exposed me to a lot of different cartoons and animation styles. Like, my tiny little brain could not process. Like, a few of them freaked me out, but now that I'm older, I can appreciate them. But you mentioned grants, and I remember that all of them started with like the Canadian Board of Something logo before each one. And I always, now that I'm older, I admire that, because they really, we don't put nothing in the arts in this damn country. It makes me sick.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We don't do nothing. But but before I go on that diatribe, Canadian cartoons, especially if you can, and I think they're on the web, there's a literal website for it. Of all the old cartoons that used to air on O Canada. I think they're on that archive of the Canadian. It escapes my mind.
They're on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
They're on YouTube too.
To your point about the Canadian, and there's a super chat I will read in a second, but to your point about Canadian media, from another perspective, I always think of filmmakers like David Cronenberg back in the 80s. The only reason David Cronenberg became famous is because he used Canadian grant money to make his movies, which themselves birthed like whole genres of like horror. And if you haven't seen David Cronenberg's films, you should, because they are incredible. But like, they are definitely not for everyone.
Well, here's also a little tidbit, and it's a little bit sad. But when shortly after I got out of college, they did this thing called the Film Tax Cut, where Stephen Harper ended a lot of funding for like those grants. And what had been happening for a very, very long time is that because we'd had all these grants, America would come up here, shoot its films, use our animation studios, and because they didn't have to pay us as much, because we had all these grants, and they could get grants from the Canadian government, and for just filming up here. So there's like a lot of movies that and TV shows that you would be surprised to know were shot in Nova Scotia on the big Vancouver sound stages. Things that are very beloved, like Alien Romulus. Part of that was Supernatural, but Alien Romulus just came out. That was shot on a Vancouver film stage, for example.
That makes sense.
But when I was transitioning from a teenager to an adult, around that time, a lot of those like Canadian like artists started to demand, "Hey, give us more money," and unfortunately, the United States big corporations did what they do, and they took their ball and they went to Korea, and they're like, well, these are the people that are going to charge the least, and we're going to get them to do it now. And they're basically it took a lot of like, I don't know, I feel like they took advantage of Canada, and then when we finally asked to be fairly compensated, they took their business elsewhere.
That sounds like America.
And the final nail in the coffin was the cut to the film tax credit. Now there's still like a lot of stuff that's made up here, but it's definitely not what it used to be, and it really sucks. And it's part of why I had to change careers. But honestly, I'm a lot more happier in the career I'm in now. But it's a reality, and I think that when the countries that they are kind of like offshoring their, that work to now start demanding for better pay, they're gonna again take their business elsewhere, because we hate compensating artists fairly, I guess.
Depressingly, you're correct. Yeah. Anyway, before we get too sidetracked, I do want to read the super chat. Nick Wolf, thank you for the super chat. A fan editor, Pete Gelderblum, recut Brian De Palma's Raising Cain to be a better match for the shooting script. De Palma saw it and made it the official director's cut. Yeah, that which is amazing. I love that. And I think also we should mention that fan edits do not get enough credit in the fan community. Fan edits are sometimes incredible and can be actually instrumental in preserving art. I can always go into like Star Wars fan edits, like the despecialized editions, which are incredible, but the version that everyone always references whenever they talk about the fan edits that like restore art and make sure art is preserved is the prince and the
thief and the cobbler. The thief and the cobbler.
Thief and the Cobbler, the recobbled cut of that movie, which is, I think they're coming up with a new version of it that's more updated than the previous versions, where if you don't know the story, and either of you two can call me out if I'm making a mistake with this, the director was this very well-established animator who had a long career in the film industry. And this was like his passion project. I think it went over the course of 20 or 30 years of production. It
was Richard Williams, wasn't it?
Yes, that was it.
Yeah.
Multiple actors died during the production of it. Like Vincent Price, who was in the final version, had passed away by the time it finally came out. When it came out, it was kind of forced. They were forced to compromise the vision and like release it kind of re-edited. They added things to make it more marketable, and then the Weinsteins took hold of it and they further pushed it into like this really cruddy. In case you don't realize, I couldn't stand the Weinsteins even before we knew they were sexual predators, because they were just like terrible with the arts. They would recut things, foreign films especially, to commodify it for American audiences. Again, Krim, your favorite topic, America ruining everything.
My favorite topic too. And
honestly, my favorite. I think we all agree on this one.
Richard Williams, like one of my textbook for high school was his like animation survival book. I learned so many things from Richard Williams, and like I was a big fan of The Thief and the Cobbler. Like, it's a very important film. It's beautiful. It's very
gorgeous.
Very different. I definitely recommend people watching it,
especially the version that's like the most close
recobbled.
Yeah. The theatrical film is, I think, worth watching as a comparison piece, but like in the same way that the Blade Runner theatrical cut's worth watching as a comparison piece, not because you want to actually watch it, because you're like, wow, the studios don't know shit, and this is clearly the version. And of course, there were issues with making the film originally. There's a reason it took like 30 years in production. There were issues he had to deal with, but like, that vision was worth fighting for. Unfortunately, it was just compromised. Paige Lego, thank you for the super chat. Anthony must now watch Barbie Fairytopia for fandom history and peak cinema. Okay.
Paige jump scare in Ant's video. Jeez.
Anthony must now watch Barbie Fairytopia for fandom history and peak cinema.
Do it.
Okay, I'm gonna start a poll in chat. Should I watch Fairytopia?
Where's the stream?
Barbie.
Where's the stream? I need to vote. Here we go.
I mean, if you do, I have a confession to make. I have never watched it. I know I'm a fraud. So.
Kyla, how the deception. Nick Wolf brought up a good point as well in Super Chat. Don't forget how It and Disney Aladdin fed into each other. It being The Thief and the Cobbler. Yeah. Aesthetically too, they're very similar. Of course, let's be fair, you can't prove that Disney stole or ripped off The Thief and the Cobbler in any capacity when making Aladdin, and Aladdin's a great film on its own. However, that if you have them side by side, I mean,
yeah, it's suspicious.
It's pretty odd.
Familiar around here.
Granted, Thief and the Cobbler then became more like Aladdin because it was released after Aladdin, even though it was in development for decades before Aladdin.
Yep.
Just pointing out that is funny how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, listen. 9% of people say I don't have to watch Barbie Fairytopia, which means really I should listen to the 9%. Really, polls really are like the minority is the one who should be listened to. Right?
Okay. Best Barbie movie.
Best one, huh? Barbie Fairytopia.
No, I'm asking which one is the best one. What is your opinion?
I have no opinion whatsoever on any Barbie film. I've never watched any Barbie film.
I am. What's yours?
No, the betrayal on my part. You ain't watched none of this.
My favorite was Princess and the Pauper. That one went off. Preminger and what a guy. He was the villain. He was so fruity. I loved it.
I love it.
Is that the guy with the powder wig that every time I see people compare Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3, they him up?
Yeah.
And before somebody comes at me, I love Astarion. I even got a picture recently with Neil Newbon at Fan Expo. I say this out of love because I see it all the time, and I just had to double check.
You see, what's so strange is with Astarion, like, I like Astarion as a character, but he's not the character I really romance in Baldur's Gate. I for one, listen.
I know what you are.
Yeah, I always go for Carl. I'm very biased.
I mean, I went into that thinking I'd really like Astarion, but you know what? I found out that the white-haired anime boy of Baldur's Gate 3 is actually Shadowheart.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
You know, I went down the Astarion girly to Gale girly pipeline, and now I'm also going down the Gale girly to Will pipeline. Like, it's something about
Will is the most underrated characters in that game.
See, here's my problem with Will, and I'm going to be spicy for a second.
Okay.
My player character is a tiefling. Bro was like, it comes across as kind of racist when he's like, "Oh, I'm so ugly. I look like a devil," and it's like, "Bro, you look exactly the same as I do. What are you talking about?" And I'm like trying to assure him, it's like, "No, you look fine. Like, it's great." Like, and he's like, "No, I'm hideous. Don't look at me." And I'm just like, "Well, okay then." And like, I guess if you're not a tiefling, that comes across as very different. But when you are a tiefling, I was just like, "What the fuck, dude?"
You ever play Baldur's Gate as a drow?
I haven't yet.
Oh, it's worse as a drow.
As a drow, everyone hates you. Like, immediately.
Okay, I have a question. How spicy is my language allowed to be?
Well, we're past the hour mark of this stream, so you're allowed to spice it up a little bit. Circling
back to Barbie, Princess and the Pauper, Preminger served cunt the entire fucking movie.
Yes, that's valid. That's valid. I don't know who this character is, but I'm sure I will agree with you when I see it. Truth, Hope, and Love, thank you for the super chat. Just letting you know, Doug made a separate video called Top 10 Hottest Animated Women a while back, showing what he is really attracted to. It had a few women of color in it, amongst other choices. I'm glad you informed me of that. I don't know if I want to watch modern Doug Walker Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, honestly.
I'm finding...
I appreciate the fact that he's... Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, I appreciate the fact that he's down with the swirl. But I don't know if I'm that strong enough.
Not after last time. Which is funny because apparently he has said my name on at least one video in the past month.
That's insane.
Possibly two.
Whoa.
I've been informed. Like, he's been asked. I think and both times he has no memory of the previous occasion saying my name. I should point that out right now. It's not like he's like committed to memory. It's like he read a super chat.
Oh, obsessed with you.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Which is one of the most surreal things to acknowledge as like.
I mean, like, I can't stand Doug Walker, but if he acknowledged my existence, I would probably. I don't know. I feel like I think it would be some sort of awakening for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I don't know.
I have a lot of problems with him, but I also have a lot of respect for the guy.
I'm of a mixed mind too. Like, a lot of the things he especially with the change the channel situation, I think there's a lot of things he did that were very shady. But he's also consistently put out videos for upwards towards 20 years now. Like,
yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Like, even though he has a production crew, even though he has a lot of people, that's very difficult to do. And he's really rarely ever missed a week. Like, it feels like every week I see another one of his videos on my recommended feed. Like, that's something. Also, he acknowledged my criticism and didn't try to copyright strike me. So that's already nice. Better than some other people.
A professional.
Yeah,
he is a professional. I do respect that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I'll give him that. He didn't try copyright striking me, so that's something. Still, back to the topic though. We were talking about fandom at some point. But
I think that's the thing, though, is like there's so much that you can spin off from fandom and so many different facets of it that connect to just everything and you don't even know it.
Oh, I mean, now that we're talking about Doug Walker and other YouTubers, I find it very interesting that fandom activities most associated with women, such as fanfiction, fan art, etc., that's fandom. That's fandom. You are in the fandom. You are being like a girly little fan about it. But theory, that's not fandom. Like reviews, that's not fandom. And that stuff is more associated with men, I think is really interesting. And like, if those men start engaging in things like fan fiction and fan art, it's degrading somehow. I think that's really interesting. Like, we don't see people like Matt Pat or Doug Walker or Angry Video Game Nerd as fandom people when they absolutely are. That's exactly what we're doing. But when you look at somebody like Cassandra Clare or Miss Scribe, those are fandom people, you know? I think that's just something that's really interesting.
It's so funny you mentioned Cassandra Clare, especially because last stream I did about fanfiction, no one wanted to talk about her. Or even acknowledge her existence.
Okay, I'm so sorry, but Cassandra Clare is one of my problematic faves. I have so many of her books. It is insane.
You probably into a debate over this. I'm sorry.
I mean, we can't deny the fact.
Okay.
Sorry, go.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, Kyla. You're absolutely right. We can't deny the facts. But which facts are we denying here? I want your take on this.
I was gonna say we can't deny the fact that she is a success story from fandom.
100%.
As much as people hate like them books, I personally have never read them. I don't know why it just went right over my head, but she is one of the success stories. Like, she wrote them fan fictions and somebody, either her or God or her agent, said, hey, why don't you switch the names around? And she did just that, and boom.
And nothing else. And nothing else.
Have you read them?
Yeah, I read the original. I read actually the first two trilogies. From City and Bone onward, and the Clockwork one. I forget the steampunk one. I like the steampunk one more, but I remember it less vividly. Like, I like that aesthetic of like Victorian England with the technology and the science. I like that component. I like elements of her world, even though it is A, very derivative, and B, feels a lot like Buffy.
It's I would say it's less like Buffy and more like Holly Black.
Oh, yeah, that is true. I think they're friends, or at least were friends.
They are friends. They're in the same. They are in the same book club.
I love that. I like Holly Black a lot more though as a writer. I mean, like I think she's more works really interesting and creative.
But like my thing is like, why is it okay for? Oh, this is going to be so topical. But why is it okay for a bunch of people to say like, oh, I'm separating the art from the fiction. I love Harry Potter. But when I'm like, and you know, J.K. Rowling has done some shit. But when I'm like, hey, I love Shadowhunters. I love City of Glass. I love City of Bones. I'm an Anne Rice fan as well, and we can get into that later.
Krim, like, before we get too into that, I do have to read 2 super chats that came up, because I think you're going to say is going to be like completely move away from anything these people are saying, because you're moving in territory that I want to chase after, but I do want to get these super chats read real quick.
Okay, perfect.
But because what you're going to say will completely take the conversation in a whole direction, and these are going to be left way back if I don't read them now.
Go for it.
First off, Nick Wolf, thank you for the super chat. Rob Walker has his fanfic show, Fanscription. I am concerned and have never seen it. You see, Rob Walker, I have different feelings about than Doug Walker. I have more negative about Rob Walker personally from what I've heard, but like, And Paige Lego, thank you for the super chat. Anthony canceled for undermining democracy. Fairytopia won in a fair and free and fair election. Okay, I'll watch Fairytopia and do a video on it at some point. I'll have to do that then. I have to do a Fairytopia video at some point. Maybe I'll make it a
I will say my hot take is that some of the Barbie movies are better than their Disney counterparts.
Oh,
why would you say something? Spicy. Yeah, it is very spicy. Now, Krim, why would you say something so controversial and yet so brave?
You could say that I'm a bit of a devil's advocate. Sorry, that was an awful joke.
Anyway, before I cut you off before, what were you gonna say?
I am a big fan of the writings of Anne Rice and Cassandra Clare. And I know they've done some stinky, awful things, crimes that do not even compare to people. I say crimes. They've done some faux pas that I don't think compare even a little bit to what Rowling has done. So I think people need to chill out and let me like my Draco and Leather Pants books. Thank you.
So listen. I have never in my life liked Anne Rice. There's no Anne Rice books I've ever enjoyed or read or own in my hands right now. Is this more Anne Rice?
I enjoy rotating Lestat around in my head like a microwave. So
listen. I am a pure soul, and totally
what are you getting?
Totally don't have. I'm actually trying to find where this joke would be funny if my bookshelf is less chaotic. This would be very funny if I could find the book real quick, which I can't.
You think your book situation is chaotic? Mine, I don't have a shelf.
Hour out, but I couldn't find it.
Okay.
This would have been very funny if my bookshelf was organized, which it is not at all. For the sake of explanation, this is the bookshelf I was trying to. There's a lot. Anyway, point of the matter is, ignore that. Ignore the. There we go. Cool. Excellent. The point of the matter is, Anne Rice is great. Okay, that's not entirely without conditions, but yeah. Anyway, so as you were saying, Krim, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I think that like to a certain point, people are only really willing to offer that whole, separate the author from the writing, or separate the art from the artist, if the series itself is respectable enough. And I think I should be able to like a garbage. I love garbage. I love playing in it, and I think that people need to mind their business. Let me play in garbage. I'm not hurting anybody.
That's
but
fair.
Like,
but you know who was preventing you from playing in garbage? Anne Rice herself.
Yes, here
oh Lord,
we freaking go.
All right.
Okay.
Old tea.
Segue. Let's freaking go, kid.
Okay, so
Who wants to go first?
Anne Rice and her crusade against fandom.
Every time a Lestat fanfic is uploaded, she turns in her grave. She is currently powering the greater the greater New York area right now.
Listen.
You know,
AI companies need new power to run their servers, right? Just find Anne Rice's grave and have her spin. It'll generate enough power. You can do it.
Does somebody want to go into the history of Anne Rice for those that don't know what's going on?
You seem very enthusiastic about playing in the garbage of Anne Rice, so go for it.
Okay, so Anne Rice, along with some other creations, I believe X-Files was on the list, and possibly Buffy, but Buffy, X-Files, and the works of Anne Rice were banned from being written about on fanfiction.net and other fanfiction websites because they had been sued by those individuals. Big asterisk. I will get back to this. It was actually our beloved shit queen, J.K. Rowling, that turned the tide on fanfiction. She said she embraced fanfiction. Now, we might think this is because, this was her being selfless, but it was really because she knew that fanfiction would make her more money in the end. It would get people involved in her fandoms, and it would create more buzz if she allowed sites like the Leaky Cauldron and Muggle.net to be up and running. So, here's my sidebar. A lot of what people say about Anne Rice and her relationship to fanfiction is extremely overblown. She did this on the advice of her editor, and at first she felt, the big thing was that she felt a little bit uncomfortable, because to her, Lestat lived rent-free in Anne Rice's head 24/7. She was the original Pulpomancy girly. She really, 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 he existed to her, I think. And
that was her kin.
That was her child, her baby. And
which is fair, honestly.
So I could see why she got defensive. I don't think that she should have done what she did, but Anne Rice also walked back on those hard opinions not that long after she first made them. So she has been okay with fan fiction longer than she spoke out against it, because her mind was changed. And I think that we should acknowledge that, and that's growth. There wasn't really fan fiction back then wasn't what it is now, and I think we have to respect the fact that she changed her mind and she turned it around.
That's right. Back then you had Songfix.
But that wasn't something that she always believed, and she loosened up towards the end of her life. So I don't think she's rotating in her grave. I think she's fine with it now. But yeah, she was pretty salty about it. But you notice that people don't talk about Buffy, and they don't talk about X-Files like that. And I wonder why. I just have to wonder. I wonder if it has to do with the fact that a big fat female name was on the cover of all of her books, and J.J. Abrams and whoever made X-Files was
not J.J. Abrams, Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, sorry, I get them confused. They both make shit science fiction, so.
Honestly, it's weird.
I thought that maybe that was it. Because nobody really cared about to connect Joss Whedon with Buffy, which is a whole other. That's a whole other different thing when you want to divorce the creator completely from their stuff.
I also think it's important to note that, and this is something that bothers me recently, because I just watched all the Alien movies recently before Romulus came out. Joss Whedon wrote a really cruddy script for an Alien movie. he basically got to write his fan fiction. He was licensed to write a story for a fandom he was a fan of, and then he complained about that they didn't understand his script correctly. Like, this is just, you ever hear about this? This is totally random, but this is just bugging me about another Joss Whedon reason why he sucks. He wrote Alien Resurrection, and he was like, I wrote this to be like this kind of goofy, tongue-in-cheek movie, and the director didn't get it. He didn't understand how to portray the characters. He did everything totally straight, and it wasn't supposed to be that way, and I don't like it. And like the whole time, I'm like, have you seen Alien Resurrection? It's really dumb and stupid, and it's goofy. And the problems with it aren't always the script. It's that the movie is goofy and conceptually ridiculous. And Joss, why did you write an Alien movie like that? Why did you think, oh yeah, let's follow up David Fincher by making this like my pilot episode for frickin' Firefly, only with less good characters, and somehow you waste Winona Ryder, and you waste, how do you even waste frickin' Hellboy? How do you get him in your movie and you somehow squander him? I don't understand it. You had Chucky and you had Hellboy in your movie, and somehow you don't use them well enough. I'm not biased or anything.
You okay? Are you okay?
No, I'm not. I watched Alien Resurrection.
That kind of reminds me of so speaking of like fandoms and kind of feeling entitled with what you write, I kind of got that vibe with years ago, my ex. So like when we were still like very new, he said, you have to watch this video, this guy talking about this Superman idea that he has. And I was like, okay. So he pulled up this video of this guy who was sitting in a chair in a white background and spoke for like about an hour and a half about this comic picture that he wanted to do, which was like a new take on the death of Superman. For those of you who might have caught on, this was Max Landis and his concept speech. Yeah, this was before I knew how bad he was. But I remember like just sitting, and every now and again I would pause and go like, well, wait, why this? Or like, wait, why that? That doesn't feel right to the character, blah, 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 blah. And I now knowing, I'm like, I could feel, and when I look back at that, I could feel kind of like the entitlement of, yeah, I get this character. I know who this is. I understand on a deep level what's going on here. And it's not that, like, you can have your ideas, but when you start to feel entitled to that and that everybody else's interpretation is wrong or stupid or you have the best one, it's kind of like, like maybe back up a little bit.
100%. And the thing with Max Landis especially is I can't stand how smarmy he always is. Granted,
yeah,
I mean, let's be fair, Max Landis is still the second worst thing that John Landis ever did. But he is just this. The problem with Max Landis is it was for years he would keep showing up and being like, I can pitch this idea to Hollywood in a way that they'll make it be better than anything else. It'll be better than the old stuff even. That's how smart I am. And
yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So go for it.
I actually have something that I want to talk about related to that.
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Okay, so I'm not going to mention what this piece of work is right away, but I will mention at the end, and I'll mention all the people involved.
Good.
So there's like this very classic piece of fiction that is very celebrated, I would say, even to this day, and it's been argued in fandom spaces for a long time.
Are you good there, Grim? Did I lose you?
The internet doesn't want to. They don't want to hear him speak.
Did we lose Crim?
I think so.
We might have lost to Crim. Well, Crim's coming back. I'm going to read the super chats that we have right here from Nick Wolf. Nick Wolf said, then the Alien Resurrection director called Joss Whedon a hack director. Yeah, that's valid. And a hack writer, as I understand it. Nick Wolf also said Landis also wrote a Sailor Moon fanfiction called Shocker Legit? No, Spider-Man fanfiction called Shocker Legit.
Sailor Moon.
I was gonna say. I saw SM. I saw SM. Something very different came to mind. I thought like Sailor Moon. Okay, I'm gonna reach out to Krim. I think we lost him there. Krim.
Yeah, Krim has been silenced. The FBI agent on the other line heard me talking about Max Landis and said,
enough of this.
Right, enough of this. He's a stand. He said no.
Oh no. So we're waiting for Krim to get back, which he'll be back shortly, I'm sure. The thing with Max Landis too is when we finally saw what he could create. Did you see Bright by chance?
I saw a bit of it, and I was like, you know what? I don't need this in my life. And then I watched Lindsay Ellis's video breaking it down, and she pretty much summed up from me what I got from the video. 100%. I mean, from the movie.
Hello.
Oh, you're back. Good.
Can you hear me?
You've returned.
Hey.
Hi. Okay, so I don't know when I cut out.
Very early on.
Okay, so I'm just gonna restart that spiel.
By the way, you missed us discussing Max Landis writing a Spider-Man fan fiction, but then
sorry.
It's all good. But then oh wait, actually we got another super chat before we get started. Time to address the Landis Carly Rae Jepsen fiasco. I don't know that one as well. What was that?
Oh, I just found out about that. Oh my god. Okay, first Krim, go ahead, and then we'll mention that.
Okay,
we'll get that later. Krim, go for it. Sorry.
Okay. So, my audio might have changed because it turns out my internet went down. So I am now connected via my phone. Yippee!
But you're good. We can hear you fine.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. So, there's this very like classic piece of this classic fandom that like it's still going on today. And I'm guarantee that every single person reading this or listening to this has heard of it. That people have been arguing the nature of two of the main characters' relationship. Like, are they gay for each other? Are they brothers? Is there an age difference? Is that age difference problematic? Et cetera. People have been arguing about this for a long time.
Since the 1800s?
And one of the
Okay.
You're not. You don't. No spoilers, Anthony. Keep your little trap shut. Keep your little mouth closed.
Fair enough.
But no, you're wrong. Actually.
I am.
And
okay.
You're way off. But keep your little mouth closed. Don't reveal my trick. And a very notable person in this fandom. Like, his favorite thing was to analyze this relationship. One of his favorite things and one of his most notable contributions to fandom was analyzing this fiction, this work. And he argued that not only are they romantically involved, but their love for one another transcends all other forms of love. And because of him, we now have a term for this kind of relationship. You might have heard of this term, and it's called platonic. One of the oldest fandom beefs in history is about if Achilles was gay for oh my god, I can't believe that the name is escaping. Yeah, Patroclus, you know.
Oh my goodness. I was thinking it was way too recent.
Yeah, way too recent. And the person that I am talking about is Plato, who defined the term platonic relationship. We do not use it correctly anymore because platonic is supposed to include romantic love, but it's now understood to mean without romantic love. But, you know, like fan beef and entitlement has been going on forever, and it's not the only one that's like this. Works such as Dante's Divine Comedy and Paradise Lost are arguably fan fiction.
And arguably more well known than the source material, because more people will reference biblical events, but they're referencing Paradise Lost. There is no war in heaven between the angels and devil in the Bible at all. There is an allusion to a war in heaven in Book Revelation, but that is in an abstract book that is designed to be an allegory for the persecution of Christians at the hands of the Romans. It's not meant to be taken literally.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Revelation is the closest you get to referencing a war in heaven, but Paradise Lost is the work that has Satan tempt Adam and Eve. It's not the case in the Bible. There is the fall the fall of heavens. There's even the idea that demons are in hell and were sent to hell by God. That's from Paradise Lost.
Basically what I'm saying is that like Matt Pat is modern Plato, or you could say that Plato was Matt Pat back in his day.
Plato
coming up with
that's just a theory.
You can quote that.
That is a theory for sure.
I was about to say a Pythagorean theory.
Oh my God, get out of here.
I love it.
It's just time is a flat circle. We live on a rock, you know? Like
I do love that though. That is kind of amazing.
Dude, they have beef. Like Plato's meta beef about the Iliad is insane to me. Like that's crazy.
Well,
we love that for him though.
Even then, with those classical works of literature, like you talk about the plays of ancient Greece. I took a course on Greek plays back in the day, and we were reading that one trilogy, that one revenge trilogy. I forget the with Agamemnon and that whole cycle of revenge, and which ends, of course, in them deciding that women don't have anything to do with the birth of children. But that's a whole discussion for another day.
Whoa!
This is like a whole thing. They go to court and everything. Athena is a lawyer in it. It's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, Electra. I forget the specifics of the name of the play, of the trilogy of plays, but basically it's a fan interpretation of the Trojan War, and reinterpreting everything to be its. Again, I can't believe I'm trying to blank on his name. It's right here. I know the book is like here somewhere, but I forget the. It's not Angels in America. That's not it. It's a different book on my shelf there. But anyway, the point is that I need to clean my shelves because these books are like very disorganized. That's my takeaway from all this. But no, fandom beef is old. I was thinking before though, Krim, that you're talking about the Sherlock Holmes fandom.
That's another one. Like this stuff has been happening, and it just keeps happening. And like if people like to think that it's like a new thing, but it really isn't.
Yeah, and
true. They bullied that man to making Sherlock Holmes come back to life.
Yeah,
that's the first instance of like fandom sending hate mail.
Yeah, they all wore black in the streets, and when Arthur Conan Doyle passed by to get like his newspaper or fresh milk or something, they would just boo him in the streets of London.
It's wild to me. I still can't believe that. That's wild.
And Sherlock Holmes wasn't even the only one. Apparently, there are reports of in New York City they would distribute the book novels back when they were serialized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if a book was if a serial was published in Britain, it would have to be shipped over to America, to New York or the cities or whatever. Apparently, the New York piers were so crowded with people trying to one of Dickens, I forget which book it was, that one of his serials that are lesser known than like. Than Tale of Two Cities, whatever. The crowd at the piers was so dense, people who wanted to get the first, like, start reading it, like, immediately, that they actually were causing problems for actual shipping deliveries to be made, because they had to push aside all the people collected, like, on the piers to read this magazine, essentially, that would show them what happened in the next chapter of this bigger event. Like it was the TV finale, and they were like they were putting on the TVs like 10 minutes early, only with physical space this time.
Amazing.
I love it. And then the chat is pointing out, and then Sir Arthur Conan Doyle got into spiritualism, and what was it?
I don't know if we want to go there.
No. I don't think we want to talk about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's fairy pictures. Though I will show you the fairy pictures because it's quite funny that that they thought that these were real. Here we go. I still find it so funny that any human being thought this was a real image. I'm just going to put this on screen. So Arthur Conan Doyle thought these were real fairies. Just pointing it out there. He thought these little paper cutouts were, like, authentic. They depicted actual...
Wow.
He thought this proved fairies existed. He was...
OG Photoshop.
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
He went full Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents with these. Also, I want to point out that isn't it strange how all of Butch Hartman's creations are better when he doesn't write them?
Spicy.
Just pointing it out there.
I mean, oh, you know what? Like real quick tangent. Like just a mention. So I'm working on my video for Fan Expo Chicago, and Butch Hartman was there, and they had a booth for his Christian cartoon. I was too afraid to go up there and say anything, but I saw it, boy. I was like, oh my God, they're here.
That's frightening. Like, that's actually a jump scare to me. Because, and the thing with Butch Hartman that I find so strange is, like, his fans, like, hate him. Like, not his fans, I should specify. The fans of the works that he created all cannot stand him. By a lot. Being for very good reason. Apparently
it's so interesting.
Yeah, and apparently he really ruined Danny Phantom when he came back to it. Because, like, he had all these ideas, like, for one, that the ghosts weren't actually ghosts because of...
Yeah, because...
Oh, yeah.
Because of his religious
They're not
beliefs.
Dead.
They can't be dead.
Yeah.
You know, that's against... Which begs the question, why make a show about ghosts if you're not willing to have ghosts? And, like, why not communicate this with the writers?
I think it's so weird. Like, I don't... Okay, so actually, that kind of goes into something else. When we kind of mentioned it earlier. When fandom creates works that are better than what they're given.
Yes.
And a lot of times we used to call those fix. I don't know if they're still calling it that now, but a lot of times, like if you were dissatisfied with the ending of a series, if you were dissatisfied about how something played out, you would write a fix, where you would be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this what you thought was the right way. And a lot of people like built like a fandom of their own around that. Like I remember, although this wasn't a fix, there was one that people were like hoping would be implemented into Supernatural, mainly because of course it was distilled, but it was the way that the characters were written. And this is also, so one of my friends who was also the one who I dragged to DashCon with, I met them on a study abroad trip
this image,
years and years ago.
I'm just putting this image up here for no reason at all. There's no correlation with what I'm talking about. If you know what this is, you know what it is.
Especially given what I'm about to say.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
So we went to this beach, Brighton Beach, which is like a rock beach full of pebbles. It was dreary because it's England. There was a random ass statue of like Elvis Presley on there. It was like a really bad Elvis looking statue. And my friend was just glaring this sucker down like it owed her money. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why are you looking at him like that? But apparently it was because of this Supernatural fanfic where Elvis was like, I guess they heavily used Falling in Love with You through it. And I can't remember it now off the top of my head, but it's like a really infamous one set in like World War II, I think. I can't remember it, but somebody out there is going to remember it. But it had created a fandom within itself. And I think that that's just really, because and a lot of people were hoping that those kind of elements between Dean and Cass would play out on the show because they were so well written in there. And for them, it was almost like their fix-it fic of like, you know, if these two characters get together, this would be how it happens, you know, not necessarily with that setting, but with those emotions behind it. And like, I just find that fascinating.
No, I do too. Actually, it's very funny that you said that specifically. Use this as an example, the fix-it fic. And it's purely because of what I've been cooking up the last few last few days. Just very funny. That's all. I'm just gonna. I guess I'll just discuss it right now. So this is tomorrow's video.
Oh, sneak peek.
Yeah. So this is what's coming out tomorrow. It's basically a Fix-It fan fiction tomorrow. Is the video essay I've been working on for 2 weeks. For the Pokemon anime.
Ash's mom and Mr. Mime finally get together.
Finally, together at last.
I've been waiting on forever.
This is what's coming tomorrow. An hour and a half of me writing a Fix-It fan fiction for the Pokemon anime.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think that's what this whole thing's been building up to.
I'm looking forward to it. Oh God, I just know that this is gonna get some interesting attention from people who shall not be named.
Yeah, who are obsessed with
I am looking. But I'm excited regardless.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. I hope it turns out okay because I've never made anything like this before. I actually should explain my experience with fanfiction because I realize I haven't done that yet. So one of the first fanfiction I ever wrote was for Pokemon, and then after I did,
of course it was.
And then after I did Evangelion fanfiction, and you'll be shocked to know this, I also did Sailor Moon fanfiction.
None of this surprises me.
None of this should. Though, and that was mainly what I stuck with. At one point, though, I did do a My Little Pony fanfiction, despite never having watched My Little Pony, because my one friend heard I liked writing, and he wouldn't stop pestering me until I wrote a My Little Pony fanfiction. And I wrote it by crossing it over with Hellraiser.
That's amazing.
Oh, good lord!
I have no idea if it's
amazing.
Yeah, I don't think I published it anywhere. But so if there's a My Little Pony fan fiction with Hellraiser on it, it's not me, it's someone else. But because I was like, I don't want this under any account I've ever made because I don't want anyone to ask me to do My Little Pony fan fiction. Because I don't like this fandom and I don't want to be involved in it. No offense, Krim. This is at like.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself in that fandom anymore.
True. But at the time I was
you're
like,
fine.
At the time I was like, really like, I don't want anything I've ever worked on to have any tangible connection to this. So I never uploaded it.
That's a sensible.
Yeah, that's a very sensible thing to do.
Yeah.
But you also reminded me of something else, which. I know I've told you about it, but Prim, I don't know if you're ready for this.
Oh boy.
Well,
I'm
you
ready.
might be.
Let's do this.
You appreciate trash.
Tell me.
So, kind of jumping with... Yeah, because this is going to be in a trench for real. So, kind of jumping all over the place, going back to silliness in fan fiction, and more so the OG crack fix.
Oh,
there
yes.
was and actually DashCon too, because this is where my friend, who I told you I dragged with me to DashCon, who I met with the London trip. She went to a fan fiction panel that was happening the night we were being told we were being kicked out, by the way.
Oh, great.
Fun fact.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah. And when we got back to the room after everything calmed down, she told me that it was like a bad fan fiction panel and they were reading stuff, and they found one by this account on fanfiction.net called Shakespeare Hemingway. And this guy writes exclusively. I don't even know if he's updated in like a couple of years, but I hope to God he's okay and he writes again, because he makes Garfield crossover fanfic. And I have to pull this man up right now because y'all are not going to believe.
Oh my God.
I believe it.
Send it in the Discord. I gotta bring this up.
Oh, because like some of these titles, y'all, like, and some of this stuff is going to blow your mind. First of all, it's the most recent one, which is from 2019, was called Garfield. Garfield meets Joaquin Phoenix. It was a Joker crossover. And then there was one where he did Garfield Effect Galaxy Adventure. Garfield leads Shepard and crew to save Galaxy. Then there was the Garfield Bowl, where he saved Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift from Kanye West from giving them Ebola during the goddamn Super Bowl. I cannot stress enough how bonkers this is. And there's even one where he doesn't do Garfield, but he does Frasier, called Frasier Blood Brothers.
Oh, and my goodness.
This is what I'm talking about with the crazy silliness in fan fiction. Like, this is the kind of shit that I love.
Oh, my God, it's beautiful.
I read this to a close friend of ours, and he was beyond gone. Like, what I was reading him. Like, there's even one where Garfield Sheen instincts. Garfield talks to Charlie Sheen to save the show 2.5 Men.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm bringing it up. Here we go. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Is it okay? Yeah. How many words are these? 5,000 words for Joaquin Phoenix. Oh my God. These aren't even short. Garfield affects 31,000 words. These are like
they're not.
These are decently length fan fiction one shots or like multi-chapter fan fictions.
Oh, they are like the Frasier one is 3,000 words. 3,000 words.
The oldest Garfield one dates back to 2009.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this kind of stuff is something that I love. And, like, me and my friends have been quoting this for 10 years now. One is where Garfield meets Prince Harry and, like, saves Kate Middleton from him because he's mad that he didn't get invited to the royal wedding. Because, of course, he is. And there's a line where he says, like, Harry's like, oh my God, it can't be you. Like, what? Not Harry. Whoever the one is now. I can't remember. I'm still in there. And he's like, no, it can't be. And he's like, I will show you. And he pulls up both of his fists and he's like, here's the judge and here's the jury. I will dispense justice upon you.
Okay, hang on. I have to read some of this. This is Garfield Fighter World Tournament by Shakespeare Hemingway. I just want to read some of this, just so I can confirm this is real by articulating it. Garfield and John Arbuckle I'm going to read this phonetically. Garfield and John Buckle was sitting at home watching the TV when M. Bison came on TV with announcement to Garfield. Garfield, I am having the Warriors tournament. All the great fighters are coming for combat. I challenge you, Garfield, to enter and fight me unless you are not mad enough. Challenged M. Bison with arrogant laughing. Do not go, Garfield, it is trap, said John Arbuckle with warning. I know, but I will go. No one questions my manliness and lives, said Garfield with fist pumped with martial arts. Garfield then departed for tournament with travels. As he left, John Arbuckle wished him luck. Good luck, Garfield. Remember your training. You must defeat M. Bison for love of justice, said John Arbuckle with waving hand. I do not need luck. I have Iron Fist of raging justice, said Garfield, beaming with fighting spirit. Garfield then began his journey of endless combat to defeat M. Bison. On his journeys, Garfield went to Brazil, where Brazilian people were. In a town, he saw Blanca, the green master of electricity. I am Blanca. I will become the world warrior, said Blanca to Garfield. You are manly, but I am manlier. Prepare for Kung Fu beatdown, said Garfield with eyes of tiger.
Oh my God.
After the words were spoken, Garfield and Blanca fought with fury, exchanging blows. Okay,
I can't take it. The brain rot is hurting me.
It gets worse. Like the worst, not the worst. I want to say the best one was the very first one he did, which was a Batman and Darkwing Duck fanfic, where Darkwing Duck and Batman team up to defeat Negaduck and the Joker. And the thing is that the Joker like let loose a homo erection gas to make Darkwing Duck and Batman gay. And and then when they realize it has no effect, they're like, so I will read you the very last part.
All right, let's do this.
Batman, you two cannot defeat us. You are way too gay to stand a chance against our combined mightiness, said the Joker. Yes, why don't you two just go back to your gay pride, laughed along Negaduck. Batman and Darkwing Duck looked at each other with humor. Then they held hand and did a double hurricane takedown attack on the Joker and Negaduck. What? This cannot be. How can we be defeated by you now that you two have been turned into gays, said the Joker. Foolish ignorance, said Batman. We were gay the whole time. What? Said the Joker and Negaduck together in shock. Yes, you crime canines. It is true. You should know that gays are not weak now. You will see prison, said Darkwing Duck. You are going to jail for your villainy and hobophobia. Not homophobia, hobophobia. Roared Batman with indignified strength. After sending the Joker and Negaduck to their prison, Batman and Darkwing Duck rode off in the Batmobile while listening to a mixtape. For the first time in eons, they were not lonely. The end. I wrote this in support of gay rights.
Oh, wow.
Also,
love wins.
Also, let's be fair. Were they implying the Joker was straight?
I mean, you could be gay and homophobic.
This is true. This is very
the
true.
Joker would be a gay homophobe.
Some of my favorite characters are gay and homophobic.
Like Asuka.
We brought it back. We brought it back.
By the way, bringing it back to Garfield slightly, I do want to bring up one thing I saw mentioned in chat. Garfield without Garfield.
Oh my god, what a brilliant fan creation.
Which is so amazing. Which is just...
Honestly.
Again, for those who don't know, Garfield without Garfield is just Garfield comics without Garfield in them. That's all it is. It's just...
What about the Eldritch Garfield comics?
Oh, those are great. I'm sorry, John.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, John. I was so hungry, John. Let me get an image of this up because these are so beautiful. I love this. I just adore these insane Garfield comics. They're some of my favorite things in the universe. Like, the fact that there's so many unhinged Garfield comics is just beautiful to me.
Can I talk about a really obscure fandom that I love very much and that I have been infecting other people with like a disease?
Go on.
So I know that the wonderful viewers at home cannot see my Discord icon, but it's of a really cunty looking vampire guy. And it's from a series called Drac Pack, from a little obscure company called Hanna-Barbera. Now,
I'm getting it up right now. In fact, I think I even found the exact image you got your icon from. I think I've actually found the exact image. Let me bring it up.
Yes, it's this one.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of people on my server to start watching it. It's all on YouTube. But like there is a bit of you can find some fan art. It's really hard to find stuff, but I am in the freaking trenches with this obscure piece of media. It's from 1980. It was made by Hanna-Barbera's Australian branch, who the name is slipping from my head right now. But if it was released today, people would be frothing at the mouth for it. So the story is that they're descendants of the Universal monsters.
Love it.
You've got Drac, Howler, and Frankie. And they are usually regular human teenagers, early 20s. It's kind of vague. It's kind of like the Scooby Gang. It's kind of vague what the age is. But they can transform into mighty monster superheroes, and they use that to take down Ogre, which is the organization. Oh god, it's like their evil bad guy organization. And I don't know, it's very like you could read the characters as gay. They don't have romantic interests, but like you look at them and it's like that's just every gay friend group.
Yeah, I was gonna say. we have the three gays all unified: the twink,
yeah,
the bear, and the stoner.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my God.
They're so amazing and I love them so much. And it's like very of its time, but in a very charming and lovely way. And I am such a fan of it. It is my dream to do a fan project and release like make a modern episode of Drac Pack. That's my dream. That would be so fun, I think, to make a modern Drac Pack episode.
That is so wholesome and I love it. I have never heard of this show before you started like lore dumping on me about it, and now I have to find it. Especially
it's on YouTube. The whole series is on YouTube.
Especially because Halloween's coming up, which is I'm not saying I might talk about this at some point, but that'd be kind of cool. I think. Honestly,
I'm going to talk about it.
Honestly,
I obviously have plans to talk about it at some point.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Well, I'm not there yet.
Oh, 100%. Honestly, I think talking about Dracula is honestly a really interesting point with fan fiction because Dracula, Frankenstein, and Sherlock Holmes have had more unofficial continuations than any other fictional character.
Those are absolutely fan fictions, if you ask me.
100%. You ever read or ever hear of Anno Dracula?
What?
Oh yeah, this is a rabbit hole. So,
like one of my
about my mom.
No, Anno Dracula. So it's Kim Newman. He wrote. I think you're gonna want to see this. So, okay. So Anno Dracula came out around like the peak of the post Anne Rice Dracula craze. Well, vampire craze, I should say. And that's gonna give you some information. Let me get you some really open image, not my Amazon account. Cool. So Anno Dracula. This is a very interesting work of fiction, but you would think, it's just simply about Dracula. It's about it's about like maybe a fan fiction about Dracula or a news story about Dracula. But I'm about to tell you all the different things referenced in Anno Dracula because it's not just about Dracula. It's really about a lot of different things all coming together. The main characters of Anno Dracula, there's two original characters, right? Then you have Vlad Tepes, Dracula, Vlad the Impaler. Then you have Daniel Trevott from Rudyard Kipling's The Man Who Would Be King. You have Mycroft Holmes from The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. You got Kostaki from Alex Dumas's The Pale Lady. You get Inspector Lestrade. You got Sherlock Holmes, etc. You get Lord Ruthven from The Vampire. You got characters who were going to be in Dracula but were edited out of Dracula. You got Kim Newman's other OCs. You got other characters who are like a little, I don't know how he wrote them into the story. You have Kurt Barlow, who was in Stephen King's Salem's Lot. I don't know how they got him in there, but he's in there. You got Gunga Din from Rudyard Kipling's Gunga Din. You got Jack Griffin from H.G. Wells' The Invisible Man. You got Basil Hallward from The Picture of Dorian Gray. You got Sherlock Holmes. You got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You got Lestat from Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire somehow. You got Carmilla from Carmilla.
Just be popping up.
It keeps going. You got Dr. Moreau from Dr. Moreau. You got Moriarty. You got Alan Quatermain from King Solomon's Mines. Bill Sykes from Oliver Twist.
I thought you were about to say Bill Cipher. I was like, oh Lord, he popped up too.
He gets a lot of these characters. You got all the cast of Dracula, essentially. You got half the Sherlock Holmes cast. You got characters from Jack London's The Assassination Bureau. You got who else is there? There's a whole list of characters from other works of fiction who he has not owned the rights to, by the way. I don't know how he got these published. Quite frankly, I'm going down the list right now. They got the Hunter guy from The Most Dangerous Game. You got Blackula. He's in this. Count Orlok's in. Blackula's in this. Yeah, Blackula's in this story. You got Nosferatu. You got the Lone Ranger. You got the vampire from Black Sabbath, the movie Black Sabbath, not the band. You got the vampire from Dracula's Daughter, who was a Universal Monsters character. You got, and this is the strangest inclusion.
Blackula exists.
Is Blackula exists? Oh, it gets stranger. You also get this is arguably the strangest one in my opinion. Martin from the movie Martin, which is a fairly obscure what's his name? George Romero movie about a man who thinks he's a vampire. And then you got Billy the Kid. You got Cagliostro. You got multiple, like dozens of historical figures. You got Bram Stoker himself and Oscar Wilde, the Queen. It's like, I don't know how he did all this. I don't know what he did to get away with like putting these characters in this book.
The plot. What is the plot?
Basically, it's so in Dracula is planning on taking over London. Essentially, that's his end goal, to kind of become a leader over London as he was over Transylvania, and he succeeds. Basically, it's what if Dracula won fanfiction, except we're going to pull an Alan Moore League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And I saw your comment, Nick Wolf, that yes, this is making, thank you for the super chat again, this is making Alan Moore look like a total hack. Yes, it is. It includes all the characters Alan Moore referenced, too. I also did mention they also found a way to fit the Man from U.N.C.L.E. in there somehow. I don't know how he fit these characters in there. Or how he legally was able to. Like, this is like next level, and like he somehow fits all of this lore into his universe. In the first book,
I gotta look at this.
In this, and that's book one. That's book one. I forgot to mention, there is more than one book. In fact, they are quite a few books in the series as a whole. They are in. That's too small a picture. Let me get the full series here. Anno Dracula series. They are. This is massive. They are. Well, oh God, there's a lot. Okay, there is. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna just bring the Wikipedia page over here. You have Anno Dracula. You have Anno Dracula, the Bloody Red Baron. Anno Dracula, Dracula Cha-Cha, or The Judgment of Tears. Anno Dracula, Johnny Alucard. By the way, Johnny Alucard includes references to Taxi Driver, Mr. 45, Spider-Man, Blade, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Elvira, Death Wish, Convoy, Vampirella, Natural Born Killers, Badlands, Cruising, the movie about gay cruising, The Lost Boys, and The Keep, which is another fairly obscure movie. You got Coppola's Dracula. Okay. Oh God, you got a story about Francis Ford Coppola intersecting with Dracula before he made Bram Stoker's Dracula. You got This is all canon in this series. And the last one apparently is Dracula, Anno Dracula 1999 Daikaiju.
Can I read off the super chat that was just sent?
Oh, I didn't even see this. Okay, I have to look at this now. I'm sorry.
Can I read off one of them? Because it's really funny to me.
Go for it.
Paige Lego says Smash Brothers wishes it had Anno Dracula's roster.
Seriously? 100% agree with that.
There's another one as well.
Yeah, I see that too. I'll read that real quick. Mega Ritz, thank you for the super chat. Two of my favorite fan fictions are Harry Potter Becomes a Communist and Light and Dark, The Adventures of Dark Yagami. Honestly, that's fair.
I know that one.
Yeah, same.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah.
Also, how have we gotten this far and not mentioned the most famous fan fiction of all time?
Oh my goodness. I feel like it's
overplayed.
Just, yeah, it's
My Immortal?
My Immortal.
Is that it?
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, it's almost. I almost feel like My Immortal has become such a meme. It's almost like adorable how people thought that was like extreme when we have Garfield and Batman and Darkwing Duck becoming gay again to fight the Joker.
Sitting right there.
I have a question.
Go for it.
What is your favorite published fan fiction?
Favorite published fan fiction? Okay.
Like officially published, officially licensed. And you could be as loose as you would like with that.
Paradise Lost.
Good answer.
aside from classic literature.
What about you, Kyla?
Oh man, I guess I would have to say for those who don't know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, yes, the basketball player, writes Sherlock Holmes books.
I love
and they're
that.
actually pretty good. Yeah, like that. He's a big Sherlock person, which I did not know until like maybe back in college. But his stuff is pretty good. I would say his stuff. I can't think of anything off the bat, like specifically off the bat right now, but I do like his work.
Oh wait, actually, you know what? I have two other answers too. I just thought of. One is serious. One is half joking. The more serious one, strangely, is a comedy, and the one I'm half joking about is not a comedy. But seriously, Young Frankenstein is actually really great fan fiction. It's a great tribute of the original 19 Universal Frankenstein films. Like it parodies the first 3 Frankenstein films. It actually, in plot, very much follows the third film specifically. Like, their characters that are in Young Frankenstein, people don't realize, are direct parodies of characters from Son of Frankenstein. They brought the same equipment over. And the writer of Young Frankenstein, who is not Mel Brooks, people don't realize, it's actually Gene Wilder who wrote Young Frankenstein. All the jokes are Gene Wilder's jokes that Mel Brooks kind of like rewrote or altered up, but the core is Gene Wilder. That movie also does fit quite well as a follow-up to the plot of the Universal Frankenstein films. It could fit very nicely into that canon. But
honestly, mine. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you go ahead.
I was gonna say just one other half-joking answer is that Madoka is a great Faust fan fiction. Basically, it's just Faust with magical girls. That's all it is.
My favorite published fan fiction was a Broadway show and is now going to be a Disney movie. But the original book, Wicked, and the series of books is my favorite published fan fiction. A lot of people in that fandom consider Gregory Maguire to be, his books are the official spiritual successor of Frank L. Baum's books. Because you can put down Frank L. Baum's books and pick up Gregory Maguire's books and still feel like you're in the same world. It really is a fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest if you watched the play or you're excited about the movie, go read the book. It is a masterpiece. And then read the other books in the series, which is Son of a Witch, and A Lion Among Men, and the last book is Out of Oz. Gregory Maguire also does other books. She did one on The Ugly Stepsister, which is amazing and tragic. But he himself is a gay man, and he wrote Elphaba and Glinda to be lovers. They were in love with one another in college, and I don't like how the musical portrays their relationship, because they were portrayed as romantic rivals in college when that wasn't the case. They were genuinely they were in love with one another. It wasn't until like Glinda is implied to be a lesbian in Wicked. She only gets married to a guy, like a nameless guy off screen, who's old and dying to get his title and his money, and we love that for her.
Yes.
But I kind of like to say that book Elphaba is a lot more like, book Elphaba is a lot more how do I say this? I should go the opposite direction. Music Alphaba is a lot more like book Glinda. So making that comparison, you can already see how there's some issues there, because as Glinda is kind of depicted as this popular bubbly girl, but she's not very bubbly in the book. She's a high society girl who is intelligent and sharp, and she wants to be a witch and understand magic and all of this. And in the books, Elphaba doesn't even believe in magic when she's in college. Which is interesting. Like it's just an interesting book. And I really want people to read the book itself, not just go to the musical, because the musical, somehow they brought it onto Broadway and made it less gay, which is
that's always shocking.
A fascinating choice.
I'm not sure how you do that.
Yeah, they expanded what was like a fair that Elphaba, the main character, the Wicked Witch, has as an adult with a married man into this love triangle she has with Glinda, and I don't know, it's such a bummer. But yeah, I'm very passionate about Wicked. Don't get me started.
Oh no, I will have to do that when the movie comes out for sure. One super chat I do want to read. Nick Wolf, once again, thank you again for the super chat. There's a fan editor I follow that edited OG Frankenstein, Bride, Son, and Young into a solidified continuity. That may be how I finally watch Bride and Son. I would recommend watching Bride and Son definitely on their own as well. I think especially Bride of Frankenstein is one of the best classic monster movies ever made. I think it's just a masterpiece of cinema. Definitely watch Bride of Frankenstein. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And this guy. So no, I was the one who's interrupting the middle of your sentence with the start of mine.
It's all good. No, go for it.
This goes into another kind of tangent I have, where, and this is related to Wicked and to Bride of Frankenstein and everything, is the heterosexualization of characters in not just fandom, I guess, but retellings of the story. Because in my opinion, there's something kind of homoerotic about Frankenstein, like the original one, because he's making this. I'm making this beautiful man, and he's going to be my best creation, and I'm going through the graveyard, and I'm picking only the most beautiful, perfect body parts. There's something going on there. I think.
Don't forget, Krim. Now, mind you, in the books, we're talking a bisexual icon, Mary Shelley, with Lord Byron and Percy Shelley. There's nothing straight about that book whatsoever. Even the monster is still described as beautiful looking. But in the original James Whale film, again, James Whale was a gay man. Frankenstein makes the monster with another man. It's Dr. Frankenstein and Fritz, his assistant, not Igor, although Igor comes in son of Frankenstein. So that right there, already some queer angles there. Then you have, in the second film, Dr. Pretorius, who is the most camp gay villain Universal ever made in that cycle of extremely gay movies. Dr. Pretorius is so flamboyantly gay. I don't know even how to explain this without showing you. I don't want Universal to copyright strike this video, but let me get this. Dr. Pretorius. I'm just going to put one image on screen, and Krim, you can see my screen, so you'll see what I'm talking about. I want you just to look at this image and find a heterosexual explanation for any of this. And
I can't
Kyla,
see it yet.
It's not open. It's not now. It is. And Kyla, you're welcome to try to search for a heterosexual explanation of this also, but try to find a straight explanation about a man drinking wine with a cigar to a skull on top of a coffin, of a casket, in a buried tomb with that expression on his face.
Yeah, no, this is very much like if you Photoshop Vincent Price over this man, like you would.
Somehow this man is more.
Same effect.
Somehow this man is more flamboyant than Vincent Price ever was, who himself. Oh, by the way, the actor in question was also a gay man, and Vincent Price, for those who don't know, as revealed by his daughter, was bisexual and was an early defender of LGBTQ rights back in the 60s and 50s. So already, just pointed out there, pretty, you know, just put out.
It's interesting to me that today people are like, "Ooh, you're inserting gay stuff where it isn't," and it's like,
have you seen the old stuff?
The old, you know, like, and like, I feel like there's something to be said about, and I use this term as an umbrella, how gay people have turned to fiction to comfort themselves. Hans Christian Andersen is such a great example. The Little Mermaid is an allegory for a man that he was in love with that he knew would never want him, for example. And that's like a classic story.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you know, and then you get the movie that Disney made that came out of that. Like, we would not have modern Disney without the gays, specifically Howard Ashman.
Yeah.
Ashman, and like, and then like Disney executives went into a little show called Little Shop of Horrors, and we're like, we want them to do the music. It was Howard Ashford and what's his name?
Oh, who's still alive and I think up until Tangled. Oh, what's his name? It's gonna drive me nuts.
Oh, beats me.
Oh, he's fake.
Hold on, I'm Googling.
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Alan Menken.
Whoa! Alan Menken. Yeah, Alan Menken and Howard Ashford. We would not have Disney the way it is today without those two men.
Yeah. Mild correction. I also found out it's Howard Ashman. I just made a video at Disney and I forgot if it was Ashman, not Ashford. Yeah, Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. And Howard Ashman, who's dying of AIDS while doing Little Mermaid.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and like, we got all these classic Disney songs from them. And the sound that we have that is now associated with Disney is them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you listen to like the lyrics from like The Little Mermaid, from Aladdin, from like
so Howard
Hunchback of Notre Dame, you know, like, come on, like,
Howard Ashman did he did Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and he died while making Aladdin. Like, he died shortly after work was wrapped on Beauty and the Beast, and they were halfway through Aladdin's songwriting process, which is why some of the songs actually they cut out, because Howard Ashman hadn't polished a few of. So, for example, there's one of the last songs.
Your Boy. Is one of them
that was one of them that they cut.
Oh yeah.
The villain song for Jafar, which they went through like 4 different drafts of, because Ashman was not satisfied with any of them. He kept saying, "Nah, this isn't working," and he died before he finished it. And they just were like, you know what? Let's just not include it. Let's just not give him a song because he couldn't figure it out. And if he can't figure it out, then we can't figure it out. And the songs I think are nice, but like you can tell, like when he was cooking. And then Menken did. As you were saying, he did Pocahontas. He did No Hunchback of Notre Dame. He did, I want to say, he also did Tangled years later as well, and Enchanted, which I think are some of the better later Disney fairy tale films.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did Frozen. I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. It doesn't sound like his style.
It doesn't have his sauce.
Yeah, no, he did some good stuff. And honestly, I think that, this might be a hot take. I don't think Princess and the Frog had as good music as like some of the later ones.
I like Almost There. I think it's my favorite.
Almost There is really good. And the villain song's really good. The villain song's really good.
I was gonna say those are probably the really two big, like, when I go back and I listen to Disney songs, those are the main two from that movie.
I also
I don't like any of the other. The other songs are kind of forgettable in my opinion, but The villain song and Almost There are really good, I think.
This might be a hot take. I'm not a fan of Randy Newman's music, and I think that's kind of why I don't like the other songs. They seem, because Randy Newman did the music, I think, for, or at least did the lyrics for, or some of the composition for Princess and the Frog, and I feel like his style, like those two songs, Almost There in the villain song, Friends on the Other Side, it's so different from the rest of the music, because the rest of the music is more like Randy Newman's kind of like style. I don't know. I just think about his style doesn't not mix with. I don't know what it is.
I hear you.
But I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I feel like no, it's okay. I feel like there's a blueprint laid down by Ashford and Menken, of like the "I Want" song and the villain song, and it's I think it's pretty goddamn hard to mess that up. So,
and he really and he had to push. Like again, I just did a video on Disney, so it's all stuck in my head from research. But Howard Ashman had to like fight Jeffrey Katzenberg to put Part of Your World in Little Mermaid. He had to like actively like. They kept trying to cut it out in secret, and he kept trying to put it back in. Like it was like they were like memos. I'm sorry.
I'll say yes, the brain trust who gave us Quibi.
Yeah, he was the genius. His judgment.
I'm a Jeffrey Katzenberg hater.
No, same. This is a Jeffrey Katzenberg hating house.
I mean, like I did like Shrek, but you know.
But like, how much of that is Jeffrey Katzenberg, and how much of that is like the fact it happened to come together in the right package?
Yeah, and the people that jumped ship with Katzenberg, you know.
Because most of Katzenberg, because the thing is, if you want raw Katzenberg, you get Ants. Ants is raw Katzenberg. Like
I do kind of like that movie.
I kind of dig it too. I'm not gonna lie, but like, it's not Shrek. It's not Prince of Egypt either.
No.
It's just weird when you look back at it now, like Woody Allen Ant being Woody Allen, and just kind of like.
Although I do like how that made him miserable. He hated working on Ants. Because
he did. Then I love that movie.
Oh yeah, no, it made him absolutely miserable. He said it was like his least favorite working experience, and the reason why is actually really funny. So for those of you who don't know, Woody Allen made like a movie a year for like decades. And what happened is he does this by just doing like 2 or 3 takes each time. He gets the quote unquote natural performance. However, in Ants, he was asked to do multiple takes because he stuttered through his lines, and it wouldn't come up well on audio. So like, listen, can you do that again? And like, just read that line again, please. And apparently this pissed him off so much that he had to read his lines again, that he like had like a panic attack while making it. So for that alone, I'm very happy about Ants.
Circling back to fan fiction, though.
Yes, yeah, good, yeah, good.
I know.
I'm always fine making fun of Woody Allen, though, but as you were.
I mean, like, could you even like describe certain adaptations as fan fiction? Like, what is and what isn't fan fiction?
That's a fair point.
Is Disney's The Little Mermaid fan fiction of Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid?
I would say yes. I think absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, here we got one more comment from Nick Wolf. Woody Allen, Ant, or Barry B. Benson, who do you kill? Woody Allen, Ant.
Oh, Woody Allen, Ant.
Woody Allen, Ant. Not even a question. Didn't even hesitate.
Jerry Seinfeld B is a national fucking treasure.
Yeah, he got to seduce a he got to, oh god.
Anthony freaking chill, my dude.
Although
showing your whole ass live on YouTube.
That's what I do on a regular basis, Krim. I already tier ranked every adult on that one list from Pokemon. I don't know if I can go anywhere.
Oh my god.
Anyway, but no, so in regards to adaptations too, something like Van Helsing would absolutely be fan fiction.
Yep.
That's a Dracula and a Frankenstein and a werewolf adaptation. Not the Wolfman, but it's a werewolf of sorts. Yep. And then you get other stuff too. Like I was reminded of this today, and it's such a. Wait, let me get the. Oh, here you go. So this is something that you may not even know exists, but if you were around on Cartoon Network during the 90s, you would, or 2000s, you would absolutely would remember this. It's gonna bring this up right now.
I guess Drac Pack is a fan fiction too, if you wanna.
But Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman.
Yes.
And there's one for Frankenstein.
Well,
that's
that one I was gonna bring up. That was my jam.
Yeah, this is fun. I like this stuff. This is some cool stuff.
What about the Scooby-Doo Ghoul School?
That's fan fiction in a nut.
Well, yeah.
That's fan fiction. A great also example too that's not animated, which I think is, again, all public domain versions of these characters. So not so they can do whatever they want. Kids from the 80s would remember this one. The Monster Squad.
Yes.
Crossover Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, the Mummy, and the Gill Man from Creature in the Black Lagoon. That's fan fiction. But you know what else is fan fiction as well? That's not directly fan fiction or an adaptation of anything. It's a movie that was actually an Academy Award-winning film. That's basically a fix-it fic for a much older, well-established movie. Shape of Water.
Yeah.
Shape of Water is fan fiction. Like it's just fan fiction. It's incredible fan fiction, but it is absolutely fan fiction. It's just Creature from the Black Lagoon fan fiction. And again, Guillermo del Toro, he famously said that when he was a kid, he was watching the Creature from the Black Lagoon on TV, and there's a scene in the movie where the female lead, she's swimming in the water in this lagoon in South America. And underneath her, the Gill Man, this fish monster, sees her, and he's swimming in peace with her. So he's fully submerged, she's above the water, and he's just gazing up at her. And audiences are supposed to think, oh my God, she's in danger. Oh, watch out, run. Well, Guillermo del Toro as a kid's watching that going like, wow, this is so beautiful. I hope those two get together. And then evidently he was very disappointed. It didn't happen, so he made a movie about it. Well, people don't realize...
His brain is huge.
I love that, right? But
He's amazing.
What people also don't know is that Guillermo del Toro was up to make a remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon for many years.
Oh, don't remind me.
Oh yeah, I know. Among other projects, he never got to finish.
The lost Guillermo del Toro project. I am never gonna fucking forgive those guys for what we lost with Silent Hills.
Oh God.
Guillermo del Toro. Hideo Kojima and art direction by Junji Ito. I'll never forgive them.
All of it was like how did they let that go?
That's a flop. That's a fumble. I mean,
it's been 10 years because Kojima just posted about it. Like, it's been 10 years since that, and I still am so angry. Like,
I'm still pissed. My spouse sometimes, when they're very annoyed at me, will make jokes about like, "Oh, hey, remember that Silent Hills game that totally came out?" And like, you son of a bitch, how dare you? It's like Konami really, the way they've treated Silent Hill as a franchise is just disgusting to me.
Silent Hill is one of my favorite things ever. So
agreed. Silent Hill's incredible, and the fact it succeeded despite Konami is incredible. Like, how you fuck up as a company both Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid at the same time. Somehow you fumble the ball on both of them at once so badly that it's taken you a decade to regain any decent will from your fans. And even then you're still fumbling it up.
Yep.
Oh, here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make... Oh my God, I just lost it. Damn. Give me a minute. I'll find it again because I had a question about if this constituted it as fanfic.
No, totally.
What about the hallway, like the stuff people have like reconstructed PT and make games heavily inspired by PT and like what should have been PT. Well, where do we draw the line? And also like things like ROM hacks and fan games are are mods a form of fan fiction?
I would definitely say so. I think that's a thing too. Where you look at that and you go, okay, so we have here this fan created content that lifts from the material itself in some capacity. I think honestly, especially with mods, with ROM hacks, I think it's more explicitly fan fiction because you're playing in that playground. It's usually, especially with Pokemon fan games, like, yeah, that's fan fiction, essentially. Mods, I think, do that as well. You can modify the experience and alter the fan experience because, and tailor it into any way you want. But I do want to bring up a type of mod that I think is a little concerning to me, and that's the mods that are very motivated by less than savory intentions. And I think, using Pokemon again, this is a part of the discussion that's a little complicated, but because obviously we want to make sure that every single person is able to creatively express themselves, what have you. However, you know, there's really no other way of dodging the point. Let's just bring it up. There's mods like this.
Oh, I was just thinking about that too, but with Baldur's Gate.
Oh, Baldur's Gate as well, with Will doing that as well. But
the White Will mod, who looks like every man up in. Well, I showed my friend that. She said, "I see this man in Traverse City, Michigan. It's the drive-through every night."
Oh my god! Oh,
you know, as much as I
God,
dislike
why?
Will,
no.
Why would you that man's fine. Like, why would you change? I would not change anything about his appearance.
Krim, have you seen this?
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Mind you, this is not labeled as White Will. This is labeled as.
Oh, they changed the hair. I saw the one with where he still had like the cornrows, like when he still had black cornrows.
But look at the name.
They were like this man.
Look at the name they have for this.
Normal Will.
That is.
That's that kind of weird shit. That's
sickening. That's really freaking gross to me. But like this shit is just weird. Like, but
this is to a lesser extent. But they'll do things like young Shadowheart, where they like get rid of all of her wrinkles. They'll make her skin. But it's like, well, because she's like in her 40s, right? Like she's supposed to look like somebody in her late. Yeah, but she's supposed to look like she's in her late 30s, early 40s, and like she has wrinkles and scars, and people will like smooth her out and like give her bigger boobs and a smaller waist, and it's like why are we doing this? Like, why are we doing this? Why can't we just let?
This looks weird. Yeah. I'm looking at it right now.
It just reminded me of a smooth Astarion. Like somebody took Astarion's wrinkles, and I was like, you unseasoned him. Put that back.
Well, people call like Baldur's Gate 3 like the woke Baldur's Gate, and it's like because everybody is adults that are coming from different backgrounds, and they have like different skin tones, they're different races, like, you know, and it's like it just bothers me so much that you like politicize just well, I guess they're not all humans, but you know what I mean, like politicizing like somebody for just existing.
Also,
it's like,
I do want to read the guy's super chat real quick. Oh, the guy thinks super chat. Oh God, he looks exactly like my manager at work. To White Will, which he probably does. But like even with Baldur's Gate, the one I do have a few change mods I'll sometimes use, but they're not that drastic. Like for example, I do run the remove like sculpted abs mod sometimes because I'm like, I think Gale having like the body of like a bodybuilder is kind of weird. Like it's kind of weird to me. Also, I firmly will advocate that Halsin should have been a bear.
Mm-hmm. I think that Gale should have been more schlubby.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think that Will probably should have been a bit more, like, ripped. Like, he's a hero. He's a folk hero. Like, come on.
That makes
sense.
Like,
him having the same body type as Gale doesn't make any sense. Like Will is a hero on the frontier, and Gale spends all of his time in the library. So
he does not have sculpted abs. His abs should not be more sculpted than Will's. I'll put it that way.
I will say though, like because I was like going through the basket of like I got the mod where it's like you get all the costumes in the game, and I was going through them on Will. And like if you see him shirtless, like the details that they put in like the scars on him is very neat. Like that's so neat. Like I love that detail. That was all I wanted to say with that. I just thought that was really interesting.
I just wish there was more.
Sorry.
That's okay. I just wish there was more body types than just the two, I suppose, for each gender, for each height, you know.
But that's a criticism I have of a lot of games in general, though. I feel like if they have like a body slider, it's like usually
gimme sliders.
Yeah, I like sliders. More sliders, the better for everything. I want to customize the character top to bottom, like if I can. I do like how we've had more options lately, but I would like more.
You know what? Unironically, one of the best character creators, Saints Row.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh yeah,
Saints Row is incredible for their
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games also have like really good in-depth character creators.
Do you know who
doesn't? And the WWE games as well. Anyway, that's all.
WWE games, you can make like anything with those creators. Like they're very in depth. I've seen. You guys ever watch the channel Dead Meat?
Oh yeah.
They do a
You were gonna say something, Kyla, as well. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say they do a thing every like year where they do like a Royal Rumble with like horror characters, and they find ways to customize the characters in WWE games to look like horror movie characters. Like I don't know how they do that. I think they gotta use mods or something, but they really that character customizable system is really wild.
Yeah, it had to be before 2K23 or 24 because them kind of limited a lot. But I was gonna say like one game that I recently started playing because I was influenced by TikTok it's like a mobile game, and I think it's on PC too, called Love in Deep Space. And they have a character creation. I think the game is Chinese based, considering the original names for the characters. But the funny thing is that they have a lot of these like details where you can adjust the face, the nose, even the buccal fat in the face. But you can't, and even like they have darker skin tone options. Now, it's not as vast as I would like it to be, but considering where I think this game was made, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna take it. But also what I find interesting is that you cannot change the hair beyond it being straight. And I'm like, y'all did all this other stuff. I can change like the height of my lip when I do a side profile. I can change the amount of fat under my cheekbones. Like I can do all this stuff, but I can't change my hair from any other style that you have other than straight.
That is strange to me. Like you know everything else but that.
I would love to transition that into creative content for Sims, where Sims custom content creators were like, hey, there's not a good variety of skin tones. The dark skin tones that you gave us are ashy and ugly as fuck, and all the textured hair is ugly, so we're going to make our own stuff. And it's gotten to the point that some of these custom content creators are so successful that their content is then added into the game, specifically to add more representation. Like we have like birthmarks and vitiligo in game now because of custom content creators, and a lot of custom content creators were brought onto the creative team to add their fan content into the game officially, and I think that's awesome. And I think enabling players to make their own content, I mean, like, I think that base game you should always have representation anyway, but like, I don't know, I just think that letting fans like add representation into things when they don't see it is such like an empowering thing to do.
Agreed.
But
yeah, give them the tools.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it just reminded me too because of like, although we did talk about Baldur's Gate 3, for those who don't know, they are introducing, I think, their last patch where they're going to make mod support for anybody who wants to mod the game to add stuff that they want. Because they know, like, hey, even though we added in all this other stuff, we know we didn't add as much as y'all wanted. So here we are giving you the keys to do it. We're allowing you, we're making it easier for you to make these items and to, expand upon it so you can have the true experience that you want. And I wish that more games did do that, where they made mod support a lot more easily accessible for that. Because, like, if you're not going to do it and you don't plan on doing it, somebody out there will. Give them something to, like, help them out some way. Like, that's the least you could do.
100%. And it's funny, too, like, you look at these, like, because the modding community, without mods, you wouldn't have stuff like Team Fortress 2 or Portal. Like, let's be blunt about it. Without stuff like Gary's mod for Half-Life 2, so many things would not exist in the gaming landscape. And that's a mod. That's purely people going into the Half-Life engine and, like, twisting it and changing it in some ways to make it interesting. That makes whole new games and whole new franchises, whole new fandoms. Like, the fact of the matter is, with these fandoms, people don't realize that the ingenuity and creativity allows them to create more things. But then the question becomes, and here comes to a big question of this whole video, of this whole stream so far, how much ownership does fandom have over the media that they're fans of?
Yes, I think that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I would say, if you don't mind me answering and giving my answer first.
How dare you answer a question I asked you?
Everybody shut up, a transgender person is talking.
Valid.
No, in all seriousness, I think that there is a point, and there is a very hard line, and I think that fandoms should be able to do whatever they want with the tools that they have. And I don't think that should, unless the creator wants it to, I don't think that should influence what the writer is doing, period. I think that each fan fiction is its own individual work. Each piece of fan art is its own individual work. And I think it should be respected as such. And I think the fact that we don't respect it as such ends up negatively affecting affecting it to the point that, like, fans are thinking that, like, oh, well, I'm making this, little Five Nights at Freddy's video, and if it's not canon, I'm gonna freaking kill somebody. Like, I don't think that these works need to be influencing each other necessarily. They can, but I don't think there should be any offense taken if they don't. And I think if we respected fan works as their own rights, separated and belonging to the creator of that piece of fan fiction or fan work in general, I think if we respected that, we would have a lot less people demanding that their own work becomes canon. Because if you think about it, if you and I, Ant, were making works that were kind of influenced and based in each other, and you're like, well, wait a minute, how come you didn't put this plot beat in there? I thought that you were going to do that because that's my idea. And I'm like, well, like, I'm influenced by you, but I don't have to include your ideas if I don't want to.
Exactly.
And I think leveling the playing field of us all, of like acknowledging everybody as a creator with an imagination, would kind of cut down on that, I think.
Agreed. I also think it's important, and this is kind of a controversy I think is worth discussing here. Okay, so I might as well bring it up now. I've been kind of dodging around this whole time. In a few years ago, way longer than I remember it actually thought it was until just now, there was a fan artist who did artwork of Steven Universe. I cannot find I was trying to look for the original fan art while you were talking, Krim, because what you said triggered this thought. The artist drew Rose Quartz as thinner than she was in the show proper, and it triggered a whole negative backlash against her. Like fans were going like really, really wild against her. There are differing accounts of how severely it affected the artist in question. It sounds like she was hospitalized for mental health issues afterwards, but it's unsure if this was directly correlated to the fan art controversy, though you can assume that it didn't hurt. It didn't help. But this whole thing started controversy. Are fan artists beholden to the original work? Are fans sometimes acting entitled to artists creating and not including all these elements in their work? And should fan artists and fan fiction writers fiercely adhere to the canonicity of the work in question? Can they not interpret it in some way? And if they change things, is that an act of bigotry or is it an act of creative expression? I would say it depends on a case by case basis, personally. But what do you guys think?
I think it was a little goofy of her, but I don't think. No, you go ahead. You go ahead first, Kyla, because I'm kind of mean.
Oh. I was gonna say I do agree on case by case because situations like that although I do, as I'm sure all of us in this chat are, ascribe to the old adage of if you don't like, don't read. If you don't like, don't interact. So if I see something and I'm like, I don't, that's not how I envision that, or I don't really like it, I leave. I don't all of a sudden hound somebody for them not creating this perfect vision of what I think this character looks like in my head. And I actually am reminded of another situation that happened where an artist that I follow did, and a lot of other artists too, have been doing redesigns of has-been hotel characters because at the risk of me getting bombarded, and mind you, this is my opinion, not Answer Crims. So if you got anything to say, you're gonna come to me. That a lot of those designs are very much they're okay, but they're not fantastic. And I do admire how much they tried to simplify it down for the animation process, but they're still kind of like all too similar. The color palettes very much meld together, and I've been seeing people redo the designs a lot better, in my opinion, to make them more distinct. The silhouettes are a lot better, but they get hate, like legit hate, people mad at them for doing this, and it's like this is just their interpretation. This is what they would do if they were the ones making it. It's not the official thing. You can still go back to the official thing if you don't like what this random person made. Like that's I think the thing that always gets me is that the original is always there. And even if you don't like this one person's interpretation, there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of other versions. Like I play a game which is fan fiction in itself of Disney called Twisted Wonderland.
Oh, yes! Yes!
Oh,
Oh yes, I'm in the trenches.
For life. Yeah, insomnia for life, baby. But
I'm still worked up over the Frollo redesigns everyone sent me after the Disney video.
Oh my god,
I think I said that too. Let's go.
I'm very uncomfortable with this concept. I'll just say right now.
I love
tweakifying
Disney characters. It's my favorite hobby.
I'm fine with
anyway,
go
ahead.
Tweakifying the other characters. It's just Frollo in particular I'm uncomfortable with. Everyone else is fair game. It's just Frollo I'm uncomfortable with.
Okay, to be fair, he is also a massive racist in Twisted Wonderland.
Okay,
but continue,
good.
Kyla.
Continue, Kyla. Yeah, like the character continuity is there. It's just he looks a little bit different.
Yeah, there we go.
But it's not. It is also not actually Frollo. To be fair, he's a descendant of Frollo.
Also, it should be noted that in the books, Frollo is in his 30s. But looks like that still. He still looks like that, but he's in his 30s.
That's a hard 30.
Yeah, really.
A hard 30.
Anyway, continue, Kyla. I'm sorry to get excited over my Blorbos. Go ahead.
As you
it's hard to find other people in Twisted. But like those are if people in chat are so inclined to do, if you go look up those characters, they are reimagined designs of like already established Disney characters, from well-known villains to background like characters or villains throughout the Disney canons and films. And some people interpret them differently. Like, I know an artist who drew Malleus, who is a descendant of Maleficent.
Some of these characters I am very perplexed by. I'm gonna bring this up, and I'm gonna bring this up.
Listen, Anthony, you just don't understand.
You're right.
Exactly.
This is very Twinkie, and I'm down. I'm down for it, but
yeah. But like one of the artists, so that dude in the bottom right corner, like right after the dude with the green hair, that's Sebek. But right after him, somebody.
There you go.
Yeah, somebody drew him with more like green skin to match Maleficent, and I like that. I'm like, oh, that's a really neat kind of like. Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's a nice little tangent down there. Somebody drew Riddle. I know an artist that draws Riddle, which is that redhead boy up in the top left.
Riddle's my favorite.
In between. Yeah, he's a descendant, and based off of the Queen of Hearts, drew him with like a more pointy nose to make him. Because unfortunately, all the people in that dorm are British. It's incurable. And
I'm so sorry.
Made him more like red in the face and stuff, and I was like, I like that a little bit more, But
which one?
If you don't believe me, there are millions of other interpretations of these characters.
All right. Let me ask you a wild question. These two folks with the blue flaming hair.
They are Hades.
Yeah, okay.
Hades.
I'm digging the mask. It's a
the one on the right is a robot that the one on the left made.
Oh, however. So it's not a mask. It's just that's just their flesh. Okay, that's their body. Okay, I'm guessing these two are Jafars.
One of them is the Sultan, and go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kyla.
The one on the left where your mouse is, that's the Sultan, and then the one on the right is Jafar.
Okay,
that I believe is the sweetest boy ever. I love him so much. He is adorable.
So in these folks with the hats,
Little Mermaid. It's the one in the middle is Ursula, and the two on the sides are the eels.
Flotsam and Jetsam. Okay.
Yeah,
Floyd and Jade in the game.
And I'm guessing this guy with the scar over his eye is Scar. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm starting to pick up on what they're tossing down. Okay, we're getting there.
Yeah. I mean,
who's the glasses twink though?
The glasses twink, the one that's basically just you. They're just the card soldiers.
Oh, that's lame. I'm the lame one, aren't I?
I mean, he's not my favorite, but
he is a bit of a weirdo, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I think he indulged Riddle a little bit too much and was too much of wasn't a very good friend to him. But it's fine, I guess.
This is fair.
I don't like his characterization very much.
Maybe one day I'll dig through this saga. I've never been one for gacha games. I've always been kind of like hesitant.
Just watch the cutscenes.
Valid.
Yeah, I will say though, I might upload. One year for New Year's, my friends and I did that PowerPoint presentation thing, and I did one on Twisted. I might upload it to YouTube just to have for posterity.
That's valid.
You can watch it and get informed that way.
Oh, there we go.
My big fat stinky opinion is the girl who drew Skinny Rose Quartz was kind of goofy for that. But I don't think it warranted what happened. But as I recall, because I was there live, baby, she did kind of double down in a weird way. So she was also participating in fandom discourse, and it was basically like a, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen, my friend. At a certain point. And
that's the thing also
it depends on what you're doing and what your motivations are. Skinny Rose Quartz, White Will,
White Nessa too.
That's that's sketchy. That's sketchy to me. Like, why are you doing that? But redesigning the Has-Been Hotel characters, which are incredibly poorly designed, that's fine, especially because people do try to make them a bit more, they're more interesting to look at. Often they're wanting like different body shapes instead of like everybody having the same stick thin body shape. Like, I'm sorry, like I have big opinions on Has Been Hotel. I don't like it. I think it's appropriating a certain visual aesthetic and then like shitting out like a Disney story while trying to appropriate like a edgy aesthetic. It's not as edgy as it pretends to be. It's very like at the end of the day, it's a Disney level kind of like happily ever after. Like don't maybe the people that we persecute aren't bad. Like that's okay. Like that's like so such a low hanging fruit. I don't think it's as I don't think it's as transgressive as 50 Pop and Has Been fans like to pretend it is. And you can hit me with hammers about that. But I would challenge you to go watch actual gothic transgressive media and get back to me later.
To that I say, it feels a lot like Tim Burton's Disney and Disney stop motion films.
Yeah.
Where it's like it looks
absolutely
really like the look is cool, the look is neat, but then like when you actually dig into what it's saying, it's telling that the best Tim Burton animated project is the one he didn't direct, like by a very large margin. Like people still go back to Nightmare Before Christmas, and there's a lot to mine there, even if it is a very simple movie and it is only an hour roughly in length. It still feels more complete of a narrative than like Corpse Bride or Frankenweenie by a metric mile. Not the crap on those movies, but like there's a reason why people talk about Nightmare Before Christmas today and no one talks about Frankenweenie right now except to go, yeah, I remember seeing that. That was interesting. and that's it.
I think that Amazing Digital Circus is achieving what Has Been wishes it could achieve. I think it's just better as a story, and it's doing something more interesting, and I just appreciate a lot more than Has Been.
You know, it's not animated. I think Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared also fits that same mold.
Yeah, that's another piece of transgressive media, I would say, that is.
And to go for much older version of transgressive media that I think does a lot more with its concept that people don't. It was also animated and it was also very popular online for a bit. That is now I'm realizing 20 years old, and I feel like that should age me slightly. Salad Fingers.
Yep. That was another Salad Fingers, and Foamy the Squirrel was another one.
Yeah, well, Foamy the Squirrel's interesting. I was actually just watching a thing where they were going over it. Like, that's still ongoing, Foamy the Squirrel, which I think is surreal to acknowledge. And that show, what I like about Foamy the Squirrel conceptually, from what I remember, is that they clearly were maturing as they were making it, you know? And so the jokes they made early on were very edgy and very, like, a lot of... I think at times they overcompensated for their maturity and trying to overcompensate for past mistakes. But, like, that's part of the maturity process. I think they had a lot of things about, like... I think at times also they were trying to, like, philosophize to their audience in a way that felt a little, like... From my memory, because it's been years since I've seen it. A little pandery, but, like... I think they got better at that as they went on. I think it's a great case study to show like an artist developing over time, I think. But Salad Fingers, I think, is just such an encapsulation of such a bizarre, unique, genuinely unsettling, transgressive world with media that has been feels too safe.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Broadway musical. It's like comparing Wicked the book to Wicked the musical.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one's spectacular and fun, but like you lose a lot of the uncomfortable components that really made it like transgressive and pushing into a different direction.
And I've been following Vivzi's career for a very long time since she was a student, and like again, like she's like held up as like this alt queen, but like one of the things that put her on the map was an animated music video by Kesha. Like that's not exactly alternative, I would say. and there's nothing wrong with being a normie, but like I would love if we could bring back into vogue the term poser, because I would definitely call Vivzy Pop a poser. Sorry for being problematic, but there are posers in our community, and it annoys me a little bit.
Also, Krim, I feel like you're like very tempted to bring out a certain fandom from the early 2000s. I have a feeling you were just dodging around it with some of the phrasing. A certain
I am dodging.
A certain alien themed.
You shut your mouth. I was not going to actually bring that one up, but that's a good example. John and Vasquez went from making things like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Squee, and then when he got to Cartoon Network, he was pushing the envelope there with Invader Zim. Like, and that's not even the darkest work that he's ever made. Like, his comics are fucked. Like,
they're adult. They're like what every edgy kid I know who is genuinely like pushing the boundary we're going to. And like,
and the thing is that with Invader Zim, that like he had like, the thing is that Vivzy Pop like basically like independently published Has-Been Hotel, and it's still very safe. John and Vasquez had to answer to, I think it was Cartoon Network, wasn't it, or was it Nickelodeon?
No, it was Nick.
Nickelodeon.
It was Nick.
It premiered the same time as Fairly Odd Parents, which is so surreal to acknowledge.
Yeah, but he was at the beck and call of Nickelodeon, and he was still pushing the envelope 20 years before Vivzy Pop bothered with Has-Been, or 25 years almost. Well, no.
Oh yeah, it was a while to say the least.
25 years before Vivzy Pop came onto the scene with Has-Been. So like, I don't know, I just think it's too boring and it's too safe for what it's purporting and the aesthetics that it's stealing from, honestly.
And like,
but sorry, that's my spicy take, and I'm allowed to have it because it's a free freaking world. It's a free internet. I can do what I want. And what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? You gonna make a Tumblr post about it?
Krim, I feel like you're trying to sort of fight over something that none of us are fighting you on. We all agree with you.
This is my challenge to the audience. At me, bro.
Audience.
I saw more discussion about House of the Dragon's casting department in opposition to what you were just saying, which I do agree. By the way, we did miss out on that. So that's a whole other discussion too. That casting actors who are different than their book counterparts, physically, especially that.
Yeah.
Emma Darcy is fantastic as Rhaenyra, but like. Yeah, physically, she's nothing like her physical counterpart in the book.
I was eventually going to swing this back to fan fiction. What are your guys' opinions on fan fiction that goes against the character's canonical sexuality, and how does that change if the canon sexuality is straight versus if they are gay?
Are you talking about the time that I read a fan fiction where they made Karu into a girl from Evangelion?
I wasn't going to mention it, but you can.
Well, again, like everything else, the question is, why are you doing it? If the question is, are you making like these characters gay so they can like lay an egg together? That's great. Go for it. I love that. I'm not thinking of any specific examples whatsoever.
You know what? Here's the thing.
I am not thinking of any specific... What are you talking about? There's no example I'm thinking of at all.
Here's the thing. Fujoshi threw the first brick at Stonewall, and I love them for that. If I will go to war, I will die on this hill. They make the best fan art. They make the best fan fiction, and I want to kiss all of them on the mouth. They are awesome. Thank you so much, Fujoshi. You are holding up fan fiction on those strong, strong backs of yours, and I appreciate you so much. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you aren't awesome. Thank you. Thank 100%. You for contributing so much to culture.
They are the backbone. They are the unsung heroes of this culture. I agree. However, the question then becomes, why would you make a gay character straight?
Yes, that's a good question.
There are less reasons why you would want to make... There are more understandable reasons why you make a straight character gay. Lack of representation. Maybe they're bisexual and don't realize it. There's ways you can justify it. But changing a character who's canonically gay or queer straight is interesting. There are some cases where a character plays with their sexuality in a way where they're like, okay, well... I use Buffy as an example, where the character Willow is with guys, but then comes out as a lesbian and kind of remains in that status for the rest of the whole series. And then it's back in the 90s, so that's as good as you got with representation. Where you had a character who A, the love interest dies, and B, they go evil. Which is every single negative trope today in one possible entry, but hey, you know what? We got what we got at the time, okay? we had to work with what we're working with. But why would you make the gay character straight? What are you trying to accomplish with that? Like, what is the intention there? Because you're taking a character who, when it's a marginalized person made into a non-marginalized person, there's always the question of, why are you doing this? If it's a non-marginalized person who's becoming a marginalized person in your work, there's representation questions. Okay, that makes more sense. But like the other way around is a little harder to justify, I feel. Not impossible, but extremely difficult. And a great example of this is the recent Netflix adaptation of Portrait of Dorian Gray. They're removing the queer queer text from an Oscar Wilde story and turning two characters who are basically lovers into siblings instead to explain their closeness.
Also, Dorian is Doran and is now a woman? Yeah. Am I getting this right?
Apparently that was also decided. I found out recently. Didn't know that's what we're doing initially, but now that's
breaking news to me.
Oh yeah, this is just recently announced. And so they're basically pulling a Sailor Uranus and Neptune.
Oh no.
With this.
With a little dash of zoocite and kunzite on top as well.
A little fisheye in there. Yeah, this is a thing that exists and is happening. The question there, of course, is why? Especially now. Paige Lego, thank you for the super chat. Krim, actually, you should read this one, actually.
Ooh, okay, hold on, let me get to the YouTube.
Yeah, you should read this, and I want you just to go for it.
Where is, okay. Oh, hold on, I need to refresh the chat. I'll get it.
You'll know what it is soon.
Krim, shouting on top of the Applebee's booth table, Has-Been Hotel is mid. I am right, and you know it. Thank you. Well, that's Anthony's money, but you know.
Hey, listen,
Paige gives me plenty of money, so.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think Has-Been Hotel is a little vastly overrated, and I have had tons of friends who have known my edgy takes going, you must love this. It's like such an edgy show. I'm like, is it edgy though? Like, I'm watching When Evil Lurks, okay? Like, comparison-wise,
like Angel Dust is a whore, and he says fuck. Like, okay.
I love that, apparently...
Okay,
Weird
sorry,
Al,
that was disparaging.
I love, apparently, that Weird Al Yankovic was open to being in the show and just asked not to swear. And they just told him, Weird Al, no, you can't come here unless you swear your head off. That was his only condition. He wanted his particular character not to say a swear word. And, like... Apparently that was too much for
That would have been the funniest thing. Well, that would have been the funniest thing. The only dude on the show that doesn't swear in hell. Oh, that's hilarious.
They could have done so much with that. Like, by comparison... And again, he wasn't saying anyone else couldn't swear. He just didn't want to swear particularly for his character. And, like, that opens the door to so much wonderful humor. You could even do, like, a Ned Flanders thing where he, like, substitute swearing with like goofy nonsense phrases. Like so many creative And I don't like how they got rid of all the voice actors in the original shorts, but that's a whole other discussion for another day. You know.
I'll say yeah before you get up on the table too.
Right. We're gonna break this table with all of us on it. But no, but yeah, agreed. Also I think something with My Little Pony that bothered me was how, and also, no, not My Little Pony. Something I was in a discussion recently about the show RWBY, and how I'm not a big RWBY fan personally. I think it's very okay. But
me too.
The discussion of it was that every single fanship in that show became canon. All of them. The fans wanted things, and the showrunners were like, okay, we'll do that, and just went with it without even thinking about it. Like, every fan preferred couple. And it's like, well, at that point, what even is the point here?
Yeah, that brings... Oh, sorry.
No, Kyla, I think we're thinking of the same thing right now.
We might be. Because
we're thinking of a certain show with fan-preferred couples and wars over this. Right?
Oh shoot, there's a whole bunch of those. But I was mainly thinking of a point. Oh gosh. Oh Lord.
Sorry, I mean, you make your point first. I'm thinking of something different then, clearly.
Well, it's definitely gonna veer into that because I always find that the healthiest way to be in fandom and to participate, and I know we talked about lines, is that there is a distinct line that you do not cross in bringing fandom stuff over to the creators of the product. Like, yes. the creators of the product and the creators of, like, the show. Like, if they want to interact with the fandom on whatever level that they do, be it, like, I see it all the time now. Like, they'll make, like, little nods to it or something. In fact, I had my own experience with it when I met Neil Newbon at Fan Expo. Like, he's very much like involved in certain aspects of it, but he also has a line with himself that he does not cross when interacting with fans and fan content. And we that's the thing, is like there should always be like a line, whether established by the actual person or the fandom itself. And I feel like the fandom itself should have that distinction of like, this certain stuff stays with us. Certain things, certain takes, certain discussions, discourse, all that stuff just stays with us. It should not leave that barrier, because then you'll end up with that where like, okay, now in an effort to please everybody under the sun, you're going to screw up your own story of what you wanted to happen. Like, or you're going to end up like, it's too much of a mess. And at that point, it's no longer the creator's stuff. And that's why you come to the show in the first place and are such a big fan of it, because you want to see their vision. And at a certain point, when they start to be too influenced by fandom, it is not their vision anymore. Now, they can take I'm not talking about like criticism or anything. I'm talking about direct influence. Like, because there's a difference between that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the idea that certain writers were afraid that if they read fan fiction that they would basically get like sued by the fan fiction writers for stealing their idea, right? Basically that. Right.
Yeah. Like that, and also just like when
Josh Keaton with
like...
I keep going to that.
Yeah.
I guess we can't really avoid this one.
Yeah, like it's just so many instances, and it's one of the reasons why you can hear back like and a lot of writers would do it, and one that comes to mind would be like when people would send like Stephen Moffat their fan fiction for BBC Sherlock, although he definitely needs writing classes. It's not gonna be for y'all, because if you see his, because then if he reads it and you see the stuff in there, you're gonna be mad, because you're gonna be like, oh, he took my stuff from me, and there's a whole legality with that. But also I feel like in that same instance, right, there's also a backlash where he saw the fans and how they were acting and what they were thinking, and he openly mocked it in the show.
Yeah, I feel that's a line too far.
Yeah, and that's kind of the crossing of the line, and there needs to be like a respect on both sides of that divide. Like, you may not like the fact that we're theorizing about what happened, or we're doing this or doing that, but we're not including you in this. This is just for us. We're using your work as a base to create this stuff. And if you just leave us alone, then we'll be fine. But instead, he saw what we were doing and continued to openly mock it and like panels and stuff, and it's like whatever. But then when you do it in the actual product that we're watching and that we connect with and that we love, then we feel slighted. And we're like, well, then why the hell are we here in the first place?
And what's wild is that he invited that discussion to begin with. Like, he invited that. You making a mystery, and you have the question of like, okay, why is this mystery happening? How did this occur? You're opening up the dialogue. You can't just make fun of people for engaging with that dialogue. It's like the complete opposite of what you should be doing. You have an audience. You have now this excited fandom. Fervor it. Enjoy it. But I also think the opposite is also true too, where you can be overly antagonistic or overly friendly. And I think, again, I guess I have to discuss it. The Voltron fandom was a great example of some of a group that were very friendly with the fandom to their detriment, I might add.
Again, Shiro loves you, baby. Like, that one piece of fan art fucked them up for the whole freaking series. I swear to God.
Like,
that was a work that one of the, I think, storyboard artists did of Shiro, and then implied that it was like a sheath thing, which was a very controversial pairing, and yeah.
Okay, question for the group: do any of us care about this stuff now with Voltrons?
I was in the Voltron fandom, and I was one of the stinky little sheath shippers, and I did get called a predator for it.
Which is baffling. It's a fictional character. And wasn't Keith like 18?
Keith was at least 19. There's no way he was anything younger than that. They were in a military academy, and he had dropped out for a year. So, like, there's no way that he was younger than that.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
He has to be, like, of age, I'm pretty sure. Like, he was definitely, like... I know Shiro was, like, 25. So, again, you're not going to ship him with, like, the kids.
Again, we didn't know that at that time, because at the beginning, they were said they were all teenagers. So, my assumption was that, like, Shiro and Keith were about the same age. Maybe a year apart max. Like...
Yeah.
But once it was revealed that Keith's backstory, he had dropped out for a year, and like this is when he learned how to drive, the math couldn't have been more than he couldn't have been younger than 19. You know?
100% agree with that.
It's just frustrating. And like to be called a predator and to have all these implications levied at me because I did not like the main ship of that, which, like, everybody loved the Keith and Lance ship. And I got called a predator for a very innocuous piece of fan work of two men that I viewed as the same age, sitting on a cliff, watching a sunset together. Like, it's ridiculous.
It is. It's genuinely absurd. I'm sorry, Kyle, go for it. I'm sorry, keep talking.
No, well, it reminds me, too, and this is pretty topical with Deadpool back when Spidey Pool was really big, because considering that Spider-Man has so many different variants of himself and so many different like depending on where you're pulling from, it could be the movie Spider-Man, the comic Spider-Man, who's like a grown man, like
he wasn't allowed to grow up. Yeah, like, a grown man not allowed to grow up.
People are looking at like the Spidey Pool fans that have been here for like decades and being like, you guys are predators, and it's like Peter Parker and Deadpool are like the same age in the continuity that we're writing about. Like,
like it all depends on where you're pulling from.
Okay, so
and you don't know where I'm pulling from because you're just yelling at me about it. Like,
and then you get stuff like even with like Dick Grayson, you know. who is in the comics highly sexualized in some ways, or like not highly sexualized, but like they have a lot of butt shots.
Yeah, he's absolutely sexualized in the comics.
Oh, yeah. But like, if all you know him from is like, oh yeah, Batman and Robin from the '60s, I don't get why they have this. You know, they think, oh, Dick Grayson, age 12. Them and Frank Miller apparently, and that's like really, really different. Of course, also by erasure as well. Also, there's one thing in the comments I want to bring up that the guy brought up. The 3 rules of headcanons. I'm going to read these out loud because I think they're really useful rules for everyone to remember. 1, don't headcanon characters that are a specific orientation. There's something other than that orientation not stated as free game. So again, bisexuality is fine. 2, don't be an asshole to people who don't share a headcanon. And 3, and the most important rule of all, it's all in good fun. Don't take it too seriously. Yeah.
I mean, like, I think for the most part you can do whatever you want. But I'm also allowed to do whatever I want, and if I think what you're doing isn't good, I can say so. Yeah. But I shouldn't be sending you death threats over it.
Yeah, people need to chill a little bit. Like, it gets a little intense. Like, the thing is this: if you disagree with fandom discourse, you can argue with it in the capacity of a fandom conversation. I'm of a big proponent of the discussion of media, and responding to maybe reviews you don't like or opinions you disagree with the respect that you are talking to another person, and these ideas are ultimately not something worth fighting over. It's worth disagreeing on, worth debating on, but it's not worth like anyone's life. It's a cartoon that or it's a book. And these aren't real people. Like except okay. Yeah. Actually, let me
before you go on, because I know where you're going.
Yeah.
But before you go on to that topic, you can respond to this very video. You can tear me to shreds about my Has-Been Hotel opinions. I mean, it's a free country. Like, you're allowed to have incorrect opinions. I am objectively right, but you can say whatever you want to.
Krim, are you challenging them to a fight outside the Waffle House?
I will fight them outside the Denny's.
The Waffle House is too scary. It's too much goes on there.
Waffle, yeah. I'm too baby for Waffle House. But yes, I think I know where you're going with this next little bit.
So, real people fan fiction.
No.
That's weird. I don't like it.
No, absolutely not. Do not. I don't care. People can call me stinky. People can call me an auntie. I think as soon as real people are involved, all bets are off.
Yeah, no, the BTS fandom.
So weird.
BTS, the Jonas Brothers, that fan fiction, fan art, sure, okay, that's something else. But like when it comes to like rewriting real people's behavior and like actions and shipping them with other real people, something about that really weirds me out.
I saw. Go ahead, Kyla. You go ahead. You go ahead, Kyla. I will say my thing after you. Because
I've seen that happen in the Supernatural fandom. I'm very familiar with it. And note that these are 2 grown men who are married. Actually, all 3 of them. Jensen Ackles, Jared Padalecki, Misha Collins. They are all grown men married with children. And it's so odd because it leads to this is probably the only time I will actually fully agree with like fiction affecting reality, because these people don't know how to, like, their fictional idea of how this person works in their stories bleeds on to them in real life. And it is the oddest thing I've ever seen, because it's like it's such a disconnect. Like, and you end up either defending or excusing a lot of weird stuff, or like babifying these grown people. It's just so odd. It's hard to put into words, but oh my god, it's so frustrating to see, because like you said, it's a person. That's a whole human being out here living their life. They're not fictional. They are who they are. And you trying to rewrite who they are to fit whatever your fantasy of them that you want them to be is very concerning. We might need to go talk about this.
It's really strange.
I have a very personal story about this.
Oh boy.
So
Krim, what other controversy were you on the forefront of?
Oh no. This is not related to any controversy I was involved in.
Oh boy.
But I have a very small, I would say, audience. Like, I'm not a big YouTuber. But
I wouldn't say any of us are particularly big YouTubers.
No, but you're bigger than I am. That being said, well, the thing is that I have a very marketable avatar. That was the intention. It was supposed to be separate enough from me that if people started being little freaks about it, I would not be bothered. But inevitably, I made a little marketable character, and like, I've gotten some amazing fan art. I've also started to get some weird fan art, and it's like, I call my little avatar that you see on screen, I call him Crimp, because he's an imp and he's Crim, you know, so it's supposed to represent me, but I don't see him as me. But knowing that the people that draw this see that as me, because, you know, I don't share my face with the internet, and seeing people make questionable fan art and make certain comments towards me, it's weird. I don't want to hear that. I will be okay. I'm a big boy. I have heard worse things and seen worse things levied at me than anything my community or my haters have made. But it's more that, like, the audacity of some people. Like, why would you do that? You know I'm a real person. Like, why? And I'm not a big YouTuber. So the fact that it's already happening is insane to me.
Okay, you know what that makes me think of, Krim?
Yep.
Let's get some controversy here. So,
oh boy,
you ever hear of a YouTuber named Nuxtaku?
I have not.
Okay, so Nuxtaku is kind of like, he's one of those like, he's one of those like periphery. I wouldn't call him like he's kind of a reactionary. He's like on the cusp of like he's one of those guys who's along the way of like leading you to like Gamergate types of channels, but like I would never call him Gamergate. I just say he's kind of like he's a reactionary. He's very popular, whatever. And this is nothing against his content, but he has a lot of weird posts about Jaden animations.
Oh.
Like,
that guy.
He has so many.
No.
Like so many. Like, I'm just looking, I was going to look for a singular image that could be like, you know, the least weird. There's a few of these where I'm like there's a bunch of these that are like really uncomfortable, where it's like right here. I'll just open this one up. This is a little less strange than some of the other ones. But this to me, like something about this is really disconcerting to me. Like the level. Okay, this one not so much, but there's a lot of Rule 34 ones too that I'm not going to click on because I don't want to get demonetized that quickly. But like he's made like 18, 19 videos about Jaden animations in particular, and it's like the thumbnails are really parasocial and weird, and I don't like it. It really disconcerts me, and I can only imagine how
Jaden feels, because she's asked people to stop doing that shit.
Yeah, like here's another one right here, a bunch of them. Like there's so many of them, they're just like weirdly invasive. Like there's something really weird about these, and like there's like a meme where it's like there's like a post, but I'm not even sure if it's real. Okay, so that's fake. Okay, I was gonna post an image where apparently like Jaden's commented saying, "Can you fuck off?" But like it's fake, so I'm not gonna do that. But it's really weird. It's I find it very disconcerting, like how parasocial it is and how invasive it is and how it's taking this avatar that's supposed to represent you, even though there's a level of division from you, it's still supposed to be you in some way. And unless you're like a lewd tuber who like deliberately presents yourself in that way, it feels like a bit of a...
It's a violation, it feels. Yeah. I would say.
Yeah.
It's really strange, and I don't like it, and it makes me uncomfortable even talking about. But like, I feel that's the same sense with your character. It's like, and mind you, I've gotten a few such weird pieces of fan art. I mean, we started
already.
We started off this whole thing with that.
Oh, well,
I mean, I don't know if
he's a whole different...
He's a whole discussion. Yeah.
Oh, I was say that's a whole other. But yeah,
that's like a hate gem sort of a situation.
Yeah. Again, for those of you who are coming in late, I'm just going to show you the beautiful fan art that was done of me today. This is just clearly a work of art. Apparently, this is me, according to someone who can't stand me. Here you go. This is apparently me as an ant. Apparently, yes, it's supposed to be an ant. I found out he has just blocked me on Twitter after I made fun of him for this.
It's really funny.
It is funny. Anyway, but no, that's that. It's not great. It's kind of over the top. But no. So I think we should start wrapping up. I think we've been talking long enough. But what are some final thoughts on everything? On like the fandom question and all that, like how we feel about all this, because we've covered a lot of territory. I feel like we don't really have one final statement we can make about any of this.
Honestly, yeah, I guess I'll go first because mine is pretty simple. Is that, to quote SpongeBob, "Easy, son, it's just a drawing." It's truly not that serious. I was going to say earlier that I feel like a lot of people equate their media consumption to their morality, especially nowadays, and that what you watch is indicative of who you are as a person. And that is like, if you start thinking like that, you will never enjoy anything ever in life, so just remember that this is all in fun. Like that one commenter that Ant read off, like, it is just meant to be fun. If you find that you are not having fun in a fandom, then leave and be your own fandom, or try to find a smaller subsect of people that you can talk to, like that you can enjoy this thing with. And you will find it to be probably a lot healthier environment. Learn to not engage in certain parts of discourse. Learn to just ignore certain things that, if you can ignore it, that you don't like. Not that, like, of course it's a subject if you see something that's like really terrible, racist, something like that, but like if it's something with personal taste that you don't like, just learn to look the other way. I really believe that a lot of the old adages that we used to use in fandom need to come back. And the big one is don't scroll. Not don't like, don't scroll.
Don't scroll. Linger
like,
on here.
Read.
Watch it.
Yeah. Linger. Look at it.
Look at it. Look at it. It's ugly, isn't it?
But yeah, just have fun and enjoy yourself. That is the main part of fandom. Please just enjoy yourself.
100%.
Honestly, Kyla ate and left no crumbs. You're so right for all of that.
She always does. She always does.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, if you want to hunt me down and discuss fandom stuff with me, my ears are always open. I know that I kind of played the role of being scary and mean, and I am a little mean, but I'll give you a chance. No, I think that we need to start respecting each other's boundaries as well. There's no such thing as thought crime. And people can do what they want and say what they want, and it's not hurting anybody. Like, my favorite thing to say is like, well, I said it earlier. What are you gonna do? Write a Tumblr post about me? Like, I'm not scared of you guys. to be honest. I don't think anybody should be scared of fandom. Like keep your privacy and like keep your anonymity, and as long as you're not hurting anybody else, just have fun. And don't be weird to artists, and don't be weird to real people, because you're definitely crossing a line. But for the most part, it's all for pretend. It's all make believe. We're still, on the playground pretending that we're Pokemon and Goku. So like, don't take yourself so seriously.
100% agree with that. I have nothing to add to that really, except for one little thing, and that is to say this: that as we mentioned in the last couple of, as this stream and last stream I've mentioned, fandom and fan created works are essentially a great avenue through which you can create material of your own. These are the places you can build the skills to make your own art that's original. And I think the question you have to ask yourself is this: how would you feel if someone took the art you made and were reacting in ways that you were reacting to it? If would you feel comfortable? And if so, then great. But if you're sending death threats to someone over fan art that you don't like, or a ship that you disagree with, that's a bridge too far. That's a step too far. Would you feel comfortable with knowing your fans are doing that? I don't think you would. So don't get caught up in like any hysteria. Hysteria is the wrong word. Fever pitch over anything. It's just not worth it. Just at the end of the day, you should be enjoying yourself. If you're not enjoying yourself, what's even the point? Friends, I am so grateful you joined us. Before we sign off, is there anything you have that you're working on that you would like to shill before we close up the stream?
Yeah. So currently I have, like I mentioned before, for those who are just joining, I was at DashCon. Yes, I admit it. And I made a whole video about it, 40 minutes long, about how my first artist alley was DashCon. That's my latest video. And I'm working on a vlog for Fan Expo right now. And then also a more long form video about the history of the Zeus Network and its role in representation with Black women at the moment. So that's turned out to be a little bit lengthier than I thought. I thought I'd get it out this month, but I guess not. But yeah, so you can, if you're interested in that, you can go follow me on my YouTube. Sub there. And if you want to see updates and other random stuff, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Tumblr, I'm on TikTok, all under Kyla T.
Mm-hmm. Krim, anything you want to show?
Absolutely. Hi, I have my very own YouTube channel. I am mostly a streamer right now, but starting next week, I'm going to be publishing an edited video every week. And my first one is going to be about Canadian cartoons, and some that I really recommend people watch. And I think that you'd be surprised by some of the high quality and interesting animation that I'm going to bring up. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, please come on by and check that video out. That's going to be released next Thursday, but my next stream is actually going to be Sunday. Every Sunday we do like a stream show. We often have call-ins. The subject has not really been decided yet, but it's always really interesting. So if you want to swing by and watch my stream on Sunday afternoon, that would be swell. We also do movie nights and game nights on the weekends. Movie night is Saturday. Game night is after the stream on Sunday.
All right.
Oh, if you don't mind, I got one more thing to plug because you just reminded me of something. While you're watching Krim's stream, if you are in the Chicago area, a union that I am affiliated with, the Art Institute of Chicago's union, we are having an art sale for our strike fund, and it will be at, let me get the name of the place. It will be at Hopewell Tap Room, Sunday from 12 to 4 p.m. Every 50% of every art sale will be going to the strike fund, and for $2 every beer sold by a tap room, that'll also be going to the strike fund. So support your local union and come out, get some good art and some good booze.
always good motivation there. All of these sound incredible. I only have one thing to shill, and it's not as noble as a union fund, nor as entertaining as a open mic conversation. But I do have one thing I'll discuss, and that is tomorrow's video. By the way, Krim and Kyla's channels are in the description. I do have to edit it. I think for some reason YouTube didn't link the ats, but that's fine. I'll fix that once the stream's done. Tomorrow at around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as usual, I have my video essay of the week coming out. Last week, I skipped out posting a video essay. I just had a highlight stream. This, however, is why I did that, to work on this massive fan fiction, essentially. So this will be tomorrow an hour-and-a-half long video of fan fiction, essentially, that I have pulled together. You'll see how it goes. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I haven't done anything like this before. We'll find out. Maybe it'll be good. Who knows? But thank you so much for joining us. If you're just catching in right now, you have several hours of content left to rewatch. If you've watched this all the way through to now, thank you so much. And if you're watching this after the fact, this video might be up, so you're good to go. All right. Have a good one, y'all. Take care.